Hello and welcome back to the Autumn Meta Podcast. This is episode 45, and you are joined here with me, at the Real Shiesty, and my good friend here at Joshua Cast. And just very briefly, today we're going to pick up a little bit where we left off last week and usher in talking about hazing, which is very shunned upon. And we're going to talk some about Pokemon cards. And with that, you can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, as we're recording this, and our social media platforms like Twitter and I think just Twitter, right? I mean, everything's a social media platform, let's be honest. But you can find us on all those platforms, and feel free to like, share, comment on everything we do. And with all that said, Josh, how are you doing, my good friend? How's everything been?
I'm doing all right, just surviving this massive heat wave the world apparently is experiencing.
So speaking of that, I'm going to start off this podcast and talk about like memes and stuff. It's not really a meme, but I saw a picture of like a couple of like what I'm guessing are like state park troopers or something along those lines, and they're like posing next to um, the temperature, which was like 132 degrees. I don't know where they're located at, but the comments from the tweet was what made me laugh. They're like this is exactly the same thing dinosaurs would do posing next to an asteroid. I was like, that was good. That was good. So just since you talked about the heat, I figured I'd throw that in there at the start.
Hey, that's perfect. It's funny. I didn't see that same thing, but I was
Mhm.
reading an article about Dubai and all that stuff. They're making all these huge cities now, like the Wall or whatever, and people are working in like 120, 130 degree heat, full get up, high up in the air. I'm like, how are you guys operating in that heat?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, I don't mean to say this to downplay the temperature, but there's a difference between dry heat and then heat with humidity, which is kind of like where we live.
Oh, it
But you
amplifies it
go to
significantly.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you just walk out and just you start, sweating like profusively. But there is a significant difference. Now, what like I said, I'm not downplaying it because I've been out there, like states like Arizona where it's like 115 degrees. It is hot, but it's different. It like I think it's a better hot.
Well,
But
these people, unfortunately, since they're building that wall city, or I think it's called the line, it's near the water, so they get that humidity with the heat,
mhm,
and that's what sucks. Cause like they're over here on like these tall buildings. Obviously, there's been a lot of construction. Like I said, I'm into random things. Construction is what I've been looking at, and seeing them in this heat, just sweating in this full entire protective gear by the water, I'm like, dude, I feel bad for you.
you could, yeah, I mean, you could feel bad for them as long as they're hydrated. At least I think it'll keep the weight off of them, so they might appreciate if you look at it that way.
Well, let's be honest, it's the Middle East. They don't follow the same laws we do
That
when it
is
comes to workers.
very, very true. Yes.
And a lot of their construction workers are because they're trying to do everything in house just like we do, and they are not experienced, so there's a lot of construction accidents going on there.
Mm. Probably a lot of deaths too that no one's really talking about. So
Yeah. I mean I can go on the whole
yeah.
thing, but yeah, there's a lot of things going on with the line and in that area. That's interesting.
Cool, cool. So outside of the heat, anything else of you know
So
really goodness happen?
game wise, I'm still playing the same thing: Crash Team Rumble, Diablo, Final Fantasy 16, Destiny, all that stuff. But the fun things that happened this week is I'm going to movie theaters a lot. I've been going solo. Yesterday I seen Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, which I really loved because I'm not sure if you've seen any of the Tom Cruise Mission Impossibles, but usually it's like there's a bad guy, he goes chase whatever. These final two films, Dead Reckoning, doesn't really have a human bad guy. The main bad guy is AI. But
Interesting.
instead of people have made AI movies all the time, but usually it's like, oh, they're trying to hack into the system and do nuclear bombs. This AI can do that, but its biggest weapon is manipulating people and playing their greed so they can fight each other while it tries to obtain its true objective of hiding where the source code is because it's afraid to get shut down. So pretty
Hmm.
much the whole premise of the bad guy, the AI, the entity, is that it just doesn't want to die, and people are trying to either control it or kill it, and it doesn't want to be controlled. So that's why it's using everybody to like fight each other so it can stay alive. And obviously, Ethan Hunt is trying to shut it down, and this whole Mission Impossible thing goes through, and can't wait for the second one.
So what's the timetable on the second one? Because didn't they shoot the majority of it already?
I
Or
honestly,
if not all of it?
I really hasn't have been paying attention to any of it. All I
Yeah.
know is that they've been working kind of on it. I don't know if they
Mm-hmm.
finished it, but I know with
Mm-hmm.
this writer's strike and all this stuff, I'm not sure if it's been
Mm-hmm.
postponed or whatever. But I'm hoping it coming out next year because I don't want to wait 2 years to find out what the conclusion is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So speaking
And
of strikes, I'm surprised as a consumer you're not striking, with the fellow actors and writers and just not even watching movies.
I mean, this is a learning experience for them. They gotta get better in order for them to actually get better contracts. So I'm not joining
I,
their strike.
I think it's funny that I don't know if you read any of these articles, but like Tom Cruise was trying to get
Oh,
a
the SAG thing. He's trying to get like a paper so he can promote his movie during the strike.
yeah, and everyone's now like going against him, like saying "fuck you," like you gotta be standing with us, and I agree with them. It's like all because your movie's out, can't play the special card now. So
Well,
that's my stance on
I'm
it.
kind of see. This is the thing about strikes is that people are like, oh, you're a scab, you're crossing the picket line, whatever. If
Hmm.
you choose to strike, that's on you. If they are happy where they're at, don't be mad at them.
Hmm.
Like
No, that
it,
part's true too.
so I'm
I
like,
just
Tom
think
Cruise
it's
is
I
doing
think
really well. He's got his own stuff going on. He doesn't have to deal with the
I
same issues they have to.
I,
They
I
should
think I
learn.
think that's why I side against him in this case because like your shit's gonna sell anyway. Like you don't really need that extra selling point. Like you're fucking Tom Cruise. It's an IP that's been withstanding. Like you don't just go support your people. So
Or maybe
I don't
his
know.
people should learn to learn what he's doing, and actually, instead of going to these big studios, they should make their own. I'm not with this writer strike thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a lot of bad actors and writers that don't deserve a lot of the stuff they're getting.
I don't disagree. There's all the above are encompassing it. But yeah, we'll see. I just think it's hilarious. Since I guess it doesn't involve me, so.
Speaking of another movie I'm seeing this weekend, Oppenheimer. I got tickets for Friday. Actually, I have tickets for tonight, but I also have tickets again for Friday because somebody else invited me. So I'm going to see Oppenheimer twice. And I'm really looking forward to it. One's in Dolby Atmos, is the one I'm going to tonight for 6 p.m. Or not 6 p.m., 11 p.m. And then tomorrow at 11:30 a.m., I'm going to see it in 70 millimeters, which is like IMAX plus whatever, the highest quality. So I'm going to see it in the best picture quality and sound system, and I can't wait to see the explosion happen.
Yeah, I don't know if I see it, it probably won't be until like DVD or whatever. Like, I don't think I'm gonna go to the theater to see it. This may sound very funny, but out of the two, I would probably rather go see Barbie than Oppenheimer, and that's just honest to God truth. Like,
See, the reason why I want to see Oppenheimer in theaters is because of the visual of the explosion and also the sound design. That you can't experience at home. Barbie you can experience at home and you're not going to get any difference in viewing experience. But Oppenheimer, with the way Christopher Nolan is designing certain scenes, you literally have to have the best sound system to get the best experience. And I can't wait for the whole theater to just eventually either shake or blow up.
well, you'll probably have plenty to talk about next week's podcast regarding the movie and give your 2 cents on it. So
Oh, it's Christopher Nolan. I can sum it up easy. It's going to be good. There hasn't
yeah,
been a single movie he's made so far that I've watched that's been bad. I like Tenant. I like Inception. I like Interstellar. Love the Batman trilogy. I mean, it's all good.
home runs, home runs, home runs.
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
Yeah, I haven't seen his whole catalog. I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade. I liked all the Batman ones myself. I can't even remember if I've seen Inception from beginning to. I don't think I have, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, they all sound like good movies, and they're always getting positive reviews. So um, I'm not expecting a bomb, pun intended. But uh, but yeah, we'll see. I think it's funny that I I think the projections are showing that Barbie's gonna make more money, and that two has been like I was reading he was pissed off that they released on the same weekend. It's like, dude, like
Oh,
that's
Christopher
that's it.
Nolan isn't pissed off. Whoever's saying that is.
That's the industry. Who the hell cares? Like,
Well,
It's
if you're
like,
saying that, whoever is saying that is wrong because people have done interviews about him this whole entire week or 2 weeks, and he just doesn't care. He's just like, I made a movie I want. That's it. Done. Like they asked him if he couldn't do more Batman. He's like, no, I'm good. Star Wars, nah, I'm good. Like whoever said he's upset that Barbie's out in the same weekend, he's like Barbie. It's gonna be pass. People are gonna like my movie better.
we'll see, we'll see. I mean, I'm not playing either side. I just think it's hilarious, but because I mean, they're expecting just because of both of them coming out the same weekend, it's gonna be a huge weekend, like a collaborative effort just for the industry itself. So,
Oh,
but
movie theaters are gonna make a lot of money this weekend for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. As long as I got air conditioning.
They do. Well, it's kind of funny. I feel like they adjust. I'm not sure if they do it in like individual like theater rooms, but I feel like they adjust the AC depending on how many people are in there. Because there's been times where it's just freezing because more people are in there, and then sometimes just
Hmm.
like room temperature when there's only like a handful of people.
Hmm.
I like it.
Cool, cool. Anything else in between podcasts?
Not really.
Not
Finally
really.
got over my suspension in Pokemon, so I can finally play. They
Ah,
reviewed
yes.
my account saying it was apparently a false alert. I was just playing too much, and I got tagged by the system during a ban wave, and I'm good to go.
So this weekend, aren't they doing a redo of the Squirtle Classic Day? And is that it, or is there something else going on this weekend? Do you
Yes,
know?
so it is a remake of Pokemon Com Day from 2 weeks ago because people, if you did Pokemon Trainer Club, you could not sign in. So there's a lot of
Yes.
people affected by this, so they're making a makeup for everybody, which I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
participate again because free candy. Why not?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's kind of where I'm at. Just go out and even though it's hot out, it's still, in my mind, beautiful weather. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that a little bit. Because I'm trying to get back into it as well. Not as much as you said you were, like trying to push to 50, but um, I would like to enjoy it a little bit more, especially since the fest is right around the corner too, isn't it? Isn't it
Yeah,
within the
it's
next
like in
couple weeks?
3 or 4 weeks. I know it's like
Yeah,
mid-August.
yeah. So I don't know if you bought your ticket for that yet, but I did. Maybe that'll definitely be a bigger day to go out and enjoy. Maybe go back to the old stomping grounds. Maybe I don't know. We'll see.
Well, they got a bunch of stuff going on. Like I think coming up here in a couple days, maybe Tuesday. I think it's when it starts. Is that they have
Mm.
like all the like the fossil event where all the fossil Pokemon are coming out. They introduced the shiny Zygarde's also out to puppy form. So there's a lot of things going on. Blazing Trails. So there's a lot of smaller events leading up to Go Fest. So I'm participating in all of it. Also this weekend, I'm hoping to ding 52 because I'm legit 400,000 XP off.
42.
Yeah, 42.
I'm like 52. Damn,
No, 42.
You've been grinding.
So it's funny
That's
because
cool.
the XP, like I said, when I was playing, I made a huge leap whenever these like event days happen. So that's why I'm like, all I need is 400,000 more XP, and I'm 42. I already finished all my requirements, so I'm just gonna stack up on XP, get my challenges done, and keep waiting for these events.
I think one thing that I just thought about right now that I really want to get in the habit of doing that might, I don't know if it'll assist in me getting back into it, but I really want to start transferring more Pokemon into Pokemon Home. Like especially my like 10th shiny of each Pokemon because I have so many damn shinies in Go. So that way, I mean, I never really sat down to be like, maybe I want to do a complete shiny dex. Like it never really occurred to me. But since I have so many, like maybe I should just do that and see where I'm at and just kind of be like, maybe it is possible. Because I definitely have a lot. Plus, that frees up space in my Go game too, which
Well,
I,
it
I don't.
definitely is possible. Like if you don't get it in Pokemon Go, you're definitely gonna get in Scarlet and Violet or Sword and Shield.
Oh, like I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, like I know it's possible. That I'm just saying possible for me myself to do it. Like will I be driven to do it? Is kind of the question I was asking myself. I know it's possible. Like I see people out there that have done it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that's cool. Like I'm looking forward to all these little mini events too.
I would like to see you go for it because there are certain Pokemon that are still shiny locked. Like you could either only get them from special events or cheat. So if you do it legit, you're probably gonna miss like 20 Pokemon if you can go for the whole dex.
I'm not too sure which ones those are, but
Most of them
I
are
I,
related
I
to
know I know it's
legendary.
accurate. Yeah, more of them probably mythicals. Like I know, Arceus is probably, Yeah, is the only way is through the brilliant diamond and whatever it's called, shiny pearl, whatever. Uh, and I never got around to completing that game because I kind of wanted to do that one, but I haven't even really started that one. So we'll see. I mean, it's I'm just probably talking on my ass with this, but it'll be interesting.
So I'm not sure what your favorite shiny is or favorite legendary Pokemon is,
Ooh,
but for me it's Jirachi because I think besides
Jirachi.
the Pokemon Go one, I think he was shiny locked in all games where you couldn't get him shiny at all, except
Mm-hmm.
if you played Pokemon Coliseum and you had the bonus disc, you could get a shiny form, and you had transferred from GameCube to Game Boy, Game Boy to DS, DS to 3DS, and 3DS to Pokemon Home. So you can actually have a shiny Jirachi in the current gen games.
Jesus. Yeah, it sounds about right though. My honestly, my favorites, you know, I'll say the ones that I have, and I have them because I really want them, so that's why I'm using them as my examples. For legendary, it's probably still Rayquaza, and for regular, it's Galarian Zigzagoon. I just love that one so much
Lion
because it's
Zigzagoon is
just
cool.
yeah, like it's just so cool.
Speaking of
So
which, one thing I'm really looking forward to this Go Fest is Mega Rayquaza is coming out,
yeah.
and he's also gonna be shiny form as well. So you're
Hmm.
gonna see shiny black Rayquaza in the sky, looking all cool and mystical with his little yellow rings.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually have a shiny Mega Rayquaza plushie.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. It's like it's pretty long. Like I would go grab it right now, but it's in like 2 rooms over. So, but yeah, I didn't know it was Mega until I got it in the mail. I thought it was just a regular shiny Rayquaza, and I got it, and I was like slightly disappointed because it was Mega. As silly as that sounds.
I was gonna say Mega looks better, so how would you be
Uh,
disappointed?
I don't know. I kind of like the regular one better. But anyhow, um, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a little pogo myself this weekend, and kind of my wrap up for the last week. The weekdays pretty much have been uneventful because of work, but last week Friday, post work, I went out and played volleyball, sand volleyball for about 3.5 hours. So that was really good. It felt really good to be drenched head to toe in sweat. Like it sounds disgusting, and you do feel disgusting, but I loved every second of it. Like it made me feel like a kid again, and plus it was a fantastic workout. So I did that Friday, and then Saturday went out with uh, my friends Chris and his little crew to celebrate another person's birthday. And I'll say this as politically correct as possible. We went out to go watch dwarf wrestling, and it was very entertaining. We had a good time. We got liquored up, and the best part of the night was at the end of the show they did an auction for a trash can in which they use in matches. So they had a fresh trash can, and the auction was for like all the wrestlers to autograph it, and then you get to go in the ring and have one of them hit you with the trash can. So me and Chris were like, "All right, what's our max? What's our max?" And we ended up winning the auction at $300, and we sent the birthday boy into the ring to then get hit with the trash can. So it was pretty cool. It was very cool,
Did he
fun
also go
night.
home with a trash can too?
Well, yes. I sorry I left that part out. Yes, you also get to keep the trash can. So it was like I don't know. I think they were googling how much it costs. I think it says like $40 at Home Depot or something like that. So, but yeah, it was just like a really cool, um, you know, fluid moment that you generally can't buy, but we did buy it. But like what I'm saying, like you just don't get those opportunities often, and the fact that we did, it was pretty cool. Plus you had the whole excitement of the auction part because they did it just like $100, like oh 150 there, how that goes, and just that thrill alone was very fun. So yeah, it was really cool. Then
I
after that, we went to a casino in which I lost heavily. And we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, and that was those are probably my biggest highlights in between podcasts on a non-gaming level. But for gaming, yeah, I'm just still pumping away at World of Warcraft. Still gonna be pumping away at it again this week. Just getting back in the swing of things since I was on my hiatus for so long playing console games, which not saying that in a negative fashion. I enjoyed every second of those times, but yeah, just getting back in the swing of things with WoW and trying to still playing a little catch up a little bit. So. But other than that, that was my week in between podcasts. That's the new segment. Week in between podcasts.
I think my favorite part about your story about the wrestling is that you're like, I want to be politically correct, but I want to watch midgets fight.
See, I don't know what can or cannot be said, so that's why I didn't use the word. But
technically, you can't even say dwarfs anymore because now Disney has officially canceled them, and Snow White, and now they're the 7 trans fluid people now, and they're not even dwarves.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
They're trying to cancel little people, man.
Yeah, little. I mean, what are you supposed to do? And the thing that's so funny. Okay, so I'm just gonna say midget now. The thing that's funny is because like the whole group was, we had this conversation like, well, what do you call them? What's politically correct? Blah blah. I'm like, midget. I was like, they literally sell a shirt that says "Midget Lives Matter," so I think they're okay with it.
Yeah, if they sell it, hey, you can say it.
And not only that, the start of the show, like, I don't know if he was like the lead promoter of it or what, but he went in there and did like a dozen midget jokes. So like, I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna use the term "little people" now, just people that don't like the word midget. I'm pretty sure little people don't even care that you call them midgets or dwarfs, whatever.
It's other people.
As long as you're not like doing it in a mean way. Most of the other people are like average height people are the ones that get offended for stupid reasons. Like, I use the word retarded still, and people are like, oh, you shouldn't say that. I'm like, it's okay, I'm retarded. I give myself the pass.
Yeah, I used to say that word a lot too. Not that it's totally removed from my vocabulary, but I definitely don't use it like I used to.
To me, the way I define the word retarded is someone that has a functioning brain and just doesn't use it. Because, like, whenever you look at somebody that has, like, a physical or mental disability, I just say that because it's more proper. And I'll never insult anyone that has a true disability. But somebody that's functioning and doesn't have a disability, I'm going to call them retarded.
Fair enough. I just, like, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying I don't use it ever. I'm sure it's come out here and there. In the same capacity you're talking about. Yeah, because I would absolutely, under no circumstance, use it with a mentally disabled person. So, with that, kind of went off a little bit off the rails here. What can we say and cannot say? I mean, there's like tons of words. I mean, there's tons. We're not going to go through all the words, of course, but like
you heard it here first. Shiesty drops the N-word.
No, no. But there's other words that fall under line that were commonplace. Like.
Yeah, like Shiesty likes to smoke a cigarette in England.
Yeah, that's one for sure. 100% that's one. What else was I thinking? Jeez. Like, I don't know. Is jive shunned upon? Like, oh, you're jive. Like, why are you being jive for, man? Is that one still even used? Maybe that's a little bit too old for you. Have you ever heard that one?
Well, I've heard about it many times.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to think of like what was a negative term for that. Like, was it used against whites or blacks? I don't think negative.
I don't know. It's just like a word like I guess I don't hear anymore, and I don't know if there like is a reason why. But like when I was in grammar school, that word was used like all the fucking time, like every kid. And why are you being jive, bro? Jive? Why are you being jive for? Like. And it just disappeared.
Oh, like probably because it was trying because like people used to why you tweaking, man, and all that stuff. So
see, I never like the only time I heard tweaking was when it was associated to like you're being high. Yeah. I've never heard it in any other capacity. I know it was used at some point, or maybe it still is.
And then it transferred to you're tripping and all that stuff, or white.
Tripping was the one we always use for sure. Man, there's another word that's. It wasn't jive that I was thinking about. I just threw it out there because it entered my mind. But there was another one that was a little bit more, dare I say, degrading, but I can't remember what it is.
Queer.
But nonetheless, vocabulary has dissipated slash changed over the years, and yeah, I mean, some for the better, some which I still don't co-sign, and you know, I equate it to, you know, the world becoming soft, and you know, it is what it is.
Do you know what I just realized while you were talking? And I don't know why this was popping into my head. The LGBTQ plus whatever the heck they are called, the whole name sounds redundant because they have the word queer in it. Doesn't queer cover all that basis?
Dude, I'm
So
not
wouldn't they be
even.
called the community? Community?
I like that community. Yeah, that's what they should do it.
Yeah, just a normal Q with the community word in it,
Yeah,
community, and that's it. You don't have
yeah,
to put LGBTQ elemental P too far, 1x negative, whatever, XYZ.
yeah. I think you're onto something. You could be a millionaire. Just saying.
Yeah.
Get those community shirts together,
Because I was thinking about this, because like I was having this conversation
and
with
then you and
somebody.
make the Q like the world,
Yeah.
and then the Q part would be the rainbow. Just
And
saying.
and then if you
Just
want to make a
saying.
trend, you can do the little Q lowercase as like, it's like a hashtag, or not a hashtag, but like a text post bubble. There you go.
There you go.
Make it digital as well. But I was thinking about that just for a second. I was like, wait, hold on. It has the word queer in it. I'm like, that covers pretty much all the words right there. So why do they keep adding more numbers and digits and all that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, once again, and this is going to sound awful. I don't know if I should really be sharing this. But when I was in grammar school, and I'm talking about stupid young, like literally like first through sixth grade years, in the what is it called? Like not the park, but what do you call it? Like just right outside of school, just like the
The
I guess it's the
courtyard.
park court. No, there's another name for
It's
it.
the playground where we have
Playground.
recess.
Yes, thank you. Playground. Yes, the playground. On the playground, used to play a game called Smear the,
Smear the
and
queer? What, you got something
yeah,
against queer people?
yeah, and I don't remember what the rules were, but like
So smear the
it was
queer.
just like it was just kids being kids, just like I mean, I guess it's kind of like bullying a little bit to some capacity, but you just like pick somebody and you just job was to tackle them, like
So the new name. Well, they might change it again, but smear the queer was the original one. Then they turned to Killer Man, or it was originally summed up to Killer Man, but it was Kill the Man, where
mm,
whoever has the football, they have to run. Everyone will tackle them, and then once they fumble the ball and they get tackled, somebody else gets.
I forgot about the ball component. Thank you for reminding me of
Yeah.
that.
So you'd be like, oh, you're running, and if you're gonna get tackled, you usually lateral it to somebody else, and they're the next victim. Or if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
feel like you're strong enough, you hold the ball, and then five or more guys will try to tackle you.
yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah, like it was there was another game that we played, and I guess depending on where you lived, it was called something different. But in our playground, our school playground, we called it Bull Rush, and basically it just started with one person against like 30, and all they did was yell Bull Rush, and everybody had to run from one side to the other side. But whoever that person knocked down, well, they're now on their team, and then they yelled Bull Rush, and the last man standing was like the winner. And that's it. It was just simple, dumb little kid concepts that kept us busy, and you ended up with a lot of scrapes on your elbows and knees.
Oh, dude, there was during my time, because they were also trying to cut down on it. I'm not sure if they cut down on it completely, but because kids were getting hurt from Killer Man and all this stuff, we decided to get quarters, and we put our knuckles straight down to the table, and you would flick the quarter into the knuckles as hard as you can, and it
I
would
remember
just
doing that.
break your knuckles completely.
Yeah, we and before th- before that, a little bit more non self-inflicting wounds, I guess. We used to do pencil poppers. I don't know if that's what we called it, and it's kind of like you just took your pencil, although this is a pen, and you just kind of held it back, and the other person would just hold it like this, and the whole idea was you had to break your opponent's pencil, and you just kept going back and forth until
Oh,
you broke your opponent's pencil, and
So that game changed for us because you would just hold like like a karate board, whatever, and you would just
Uh-huh.
karate chop or punch as hard as you can until it broke. It wasn't just like flop it.
Oh,
But
you guys were just using your hands?
yeah, so the one person would hold
Oh,
it, and the other person would have to karate chop in one go, and if it breaks, you win. If not, the other person takes a turn.
oh, no, no. We I guess we're a little bit more patient, I guess, because we use the pencils.
But then we also had the rubber band game, where you get a rubber band, you make it into a slingshot, and you go up to somebody and just flick them as hard as you can, and basically leaving welts on people.
So we didn't do that, but something similar slash worse, I would say, is we'd hold the rubber band, but then with paper we would make like V's,
Oh yeah, and
and
then
then
you
you would
shoot them.
fold it, yeah, and shoot them. But that got stopped very quickly because eyeball
Littering.
hits and stuff. And then there's other people that would do more sadistic stuff where
Oh, they give
they
them
would
those
take
Pentax.
no, but that sounds just as bad. Or maybe what I'm about to say is bad too. I don't know. But instead of the V's, they would take a straw, a paper clip, and rubber band. And you would take the paper clip, you would bend it, fold it so you have a pointy, and then the other part coming out of the straw, and you rubber band that, and then you use that. The idea is you're supposed to do it outside so you could do it, see how far you shoot, and then it'll stick in the grass. Not
Kids wanted to
everybody
hit
did
each
that.
other.
Yeah, not everybody did that. So it got pretty bad. And then there's always the good old fashioned spitball, which, don't know if anybody does that anymore. But
See, this is the one thing maybe I am for schools cutting down on. Have you ever heard of the ball gazer game? So
no.
you would hold your hand like this by your crotch, and if somebody catches you doing that, you'd punch them right in the nuts.
No. Absolutely not.
That was a big thing with the football team. If you caught somebody with the ball gazer, you gotta just
So
punch
so
them right in the nuts.
it's funny that I feel like we're getting a little bit ahead to our first topic today. Not that I'm trying to transition to it, but like our conversation's kind of leaning towards that way, although it's not exact, but um yeah, no, that one wasn't. I don't know.
Okay, so
No.
well, this one makes a little bit more sense, but it's also kind of dangerous.
Hmm.
So it was called heel kick, and a lot of people on the basketball team did this too. So when you're walking, people would just try to kick the back of your heel to trip you. But they also did it as like a lesson to keep your footwork on point. So you would always be observing, and if somebody did kick you, try to keep your balance. But most of the time, people fell.
And they would do this with kids not on the team, or just
Well,
strictly the team may
most of the
do it to each other.
basketball team would do it to each other, but then other people would try to
Gotcha.
catch on, and then it got kind of
Interesting.
crazy where people were trying to do it while people were walking downstairs.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that wasn't done. I just don't know the genesis of it, or I don't recall seeing it that often, if at all. But it sounds like something that I might have caught before.
Yeah, that one
Uh,
was bad because after people besides the basketball team were doing and they were doing it on the stairs, immediately people shut that down. They're like, you're trying to trip somebody down the stairs. That's not cool.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like grammar school years was a lot more stupider versus like my high school years. I felt like my years, like the classmen, were more. I don't want to say docile, but just more mature. Like it sounds very odd to say. Like don't get me wrong. There's like you know parties and shit and people doing drugs. Like that's not mature. But I'm just saying from like a like everything we're talking about is kind of childish, right? So I'm saying from like that standpoint. Like I don't recollect a lot or if any of that going on in my high school years.
Well, when you go to public school, there's a lot of dumb
I
kids.
my last 2 years I did go to public school.
So because I went to the majority in public school, some kids in seventh and eighth grade, because this was I don't know why it was cool. I've never did it because I always thought it was stupid, but they would
Hmm.
snort pixie sticks.
I remember dumb shit like that too, and also Lucas.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm like I would watch kids at like lunchtime. Put the pixie sticks in the ground, like break them up like it's a cocaine line, and snort it like. And then their nose would bleed. I'm like, what's the point of that? Like that sounds stupid. You're just hurting yourself. I mean, granted,
Yeah.
I'm also the same dumb kid that was shooting quarters into my knuckles. But I'm like, that one seemed a little too
You
far.
you had a level of stupid.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll go this level of dumb, but this level, that's not okay.
Exactly. And then like that's kind of fine, right? Like, your kid or there's other kids and you know, especially when you're trying to fit in, you're gonna do something kind of stupid just to fit in, but you have your own dignity, right? Like some don't, and believe me, I talking about back in high school, my first 2 years, I witnessed a kid that had zero dignity. Like he was legit taking money from other people just to do dares. Which maybe the kid was onto something because he was making money. I don't know. But like I was watching him like, dude, you were like hurting yourself. But
Yeah.
maybe he was also one of those kids that liked pain. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah.
So but anyway, we could segue from that because we'll probably end up going a little bit back into that. But for some short news slash short topics, I favored this one throughout the week. I don't know if you bumped into it, but the Library of Congress has selected Nintendo Super Mario Bros. Theme to be the first video game track enshrined in the National Recording Registry. I thought that was very interesting.
That is pretty interesting. So
Out
wait,
of
hold on.
all,
What? So Library of Congress. Well, for some reason, I'm only thinking about the physical building in Washington D.C. Is there? Can you visit the Library of Congress on the media and it'll play that? Or I'm sorry, when I say media, I'm talking about the website.
that's a very good question. I didn't do that much digging, but it's basically like a museum of sorts for certain iconic music, scores, songs, etc., etc. And the fact that the Mario Brothers is the first video game related one is pretty cool. Surprised it took this long, to be honest. Like, I think I don't know which other video game ones you think would be worthy and iconic. Like I would think
100% Halo. The Halo soundtrack, almost everybody knows, even people that don't play Halo.
I would probably have to hear it to say if I recognize it. Because
It, it,
unless you feel like humming it right now.
I'm trying to think if I could do it. It's like very angelic. It's like da da. No, I'm doing it wrong. You'd have to hear it. I can't replicate it.
I I think another one that may fall into it would probably be the Final Fantasy main theme.
I'll see more Pokemon, dun, 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 or that battle theme.
Man, that's tough.
Dun,
I
dun,
don't.
dun, dun, dun.
I'm gonna say no, because I would almost suggest you could pull Pokemon Go players that have no idea what the anime theme sounds like.
Well, not
Not.
the anime theme, the battle theme,
Oh well, same difference though. No, I
because
mean,
it's in Pokemon Go too. They just changed the instruments a little bit.
yeah, that's true. I don't know why I feel like they wouldn't make they still wouldn't make the connection like they wouldn't resonate that that's exclusive to Pokemon. I don't know. That's just me. Like some of them be weird,
Hmm.
but so yeah. I'm trying to think if there's like any other really notorious one. Like, would Green Hill Zone for Sonic be worthy? Probably
Nah,
not.
no, I'm gonna be honest. Sonic might be a notable name, but it's not a big name that a lot of people
Yeah,
like.
yeah. Man, there got to be some other ones that are very notorious.
So it has to be video game related, right?
Yeah, if we're well, yeah, let's just stick video game. Yeah. Since that's usually the meat and veggies of our podcast.
I'm trying to think. There's what other game? There's a lot of games that a lot of people know of. I was like maybe Wolfenstein, maybe Doom, just because of how old they are and how many people know it. But I'm like, no, they would only just say BFG, and that was only a song later on. I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, I guess it'd be only the Halo theme and Pokemon, and I guess Mario would be the more iconic ones that almost everybody would know universally.
Yeah. I think another one. Well, people probably wouldn't know
Oh,
exact.
Minecraft theme song, like the intro, the relaxing melodic beat that you have when you're trying to like log into the game.
I don't think I've ever heard it before.
And the only reason I'm putting that in the ring is because of how many times it's been downloaded and played across the world on
Uh
mobile and
huh.
PC devices. Even the parents that don't play it will probably hear it because their kids playing it.
Uh huh. Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna poo-poo. I've never heard it. But I don't know if there's any like type of um, I don't know. So what I'm looking for, not curriculum, but maybe curriculum where like, it has to be already 20 years old or something like that. That much I don't know. So, but yeah, I want to throw that as this little short story news. And did I have any more? Let's see. Da, 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 da. I think that was really the only one. There was one that I probably, I guess, I don't know if you want to bring up or a little something about it or if it's even relevant to bring up, but something about Xbox, their Gold Pass is going to be discontinued and they're going to move on to some sort of like tiered one?
So
Or
okay,
maybe it's already.
so I was gonna bring this up. So Xbox Gold has been around since 2002 when the original Xbox launched. That was pretty
Mm-hmm,
much like their service for you to go online, play with people, and all that stuff.
mm-hmm,
That is officially ending, coming up fairly soon. I can't remember the exact expiration date, but it is ending. So they are going to stop giving away the free games, and they're going to replace it with Game Pass Core, which pretty much, if you played Xbox within the last 7 years, you pretty much did nothing with Gold anyways. You're already doing Game Pass, either normal or Game Pass Ultimate, which give you
mm-hmm,
access to all the PC stuff. So them just fully integrating Game Pass into it by just having Game Pass Core, which gives you basically all the staple Microsoft games for a very low price. I think it's like $4 a month, and you get to play online or whatever. It makes more sense than just doing Xbox Live Gold, where you get two random games that you don't even know about and play online. That's it.
but pretty much they're just discontinuing a legacy subscription,
They're
is what
just
you're
pretty
saying.
much updating the name. That's all they're doing. So
Gotcha, gotcha.
same live service, same games, just cheaper price point with a lower tier.
Okay. I'm gonna bring up something else that maybe you could help me understand because it confuses the hell out of me. Um, Blizzard recently said they're going to add, I want to say, is Diablo 4 to Steam. Am I? I don't know if you've heard about this or if maybe if I'm inaccurate and it's a
So
different game.
So I am going to mention this
Okay.
because I have a whole bunch of quick news roundup.
Okay.
So let me go off first with this.
Okay.
The FTC, they tried to appeal it, like I said last time. It got rejected, so Microsoft officially won the Blizzard acquisition in the U.S. All they're waiting for is a CMA. They also got their merger date extended to October, so all that's saying in their way is a CMA, which should be done very, very soon, according to all reports, because the CMA and Xbox are already talking to each other, Microsoft are already talking to each other. So because of this looking almost 100% concrete, all across the board from Activision to Blizzard games, um, they're reworking servers for older games. So now a lot of the Call of Duty servers from the older days that were just riddled with hackers and all stuff you couldn't play are now fixed. Now it's actually playable. And same thing with a lot of Blizzard games that are on console, like Diablo 3 and all that stuff, are now being fixed and more stable for Xbox. Um, but a lot of the games are also going on sale. And then because of this and this merger, Xbox looked at the Blizzard Net or the Blizzard client, whatever it's called, and they
Battle.net.
realized, yeah, BattleNet, and they realized having games only on the BattleNet was significantly reducing their sale prices. As much as they want to keep it as an exclusive launcher, they realize that's not the motto going forward. They want to be all inclusive to all systems possible. So most of the Battle.net games like Call of Duty, Diablo, and all that stuff are going to be moving over to Steam as well.
Okay. So I'm still confused by this because if they're both, I know Diablo 4 is on consoles, but let's just say hypothetically it was just PC. Explain to me what's the difference of they're both just PC games. They both are online. What's the difference of having it in Steam and not? Like I guess that's where I'm failing to understand. Like,
So
what's
it's your launcher. It's just like the same thing of like a web browser. Like, do you prefer Google, Firefox, all that stuff? That's
Mhm.
what these launchers are. Steam is just
So
a more
it's
preferred launcher for more gamers because they're bigger library, accessibilities, community features, all that stuff that most um, game launchers don't have. And so people just want all the games in one, and Steam is just the better place to put it, just because the community improvements, developer support, and all that stuff. And I mean, it's still gonna be run off the Blizzard network, like the
yeah,
services and
and
stuff.
exactly, and that's why like I was like confused. I'm like, it's still on Blizzard server, so like, so really all it is just a fucking launcher. That's it.
Yep. But that's a good thing because that means
'Cause-
that Steam will, if any game that's being sold, or sorry, any Blizzard game being sold also gets a cut for Steam, and Steam also has to pay Microsoft or Activision, whatever is going forward, a little percent to keep their games on that platform. Just like if it goes to Epic, there'll be like a percent cut both ways where they both make money.
well, I don't know the exact cut, but what I was reading was technically they lose. I mean, now with the Microsoft, it's probably different and different, probably agreements. But if they were still under just Blizzard Activision, technically they lose money by putting it on the client because now they have to pay them royalties rather than just going straight their own first party route.
Not well, so you gotta think of it two ways. If you put it on the Steam launcher, your player base is going to increase drastically, and that is going to give you a lot of money. Plus, the percent cut that Steam gets is very minor. I think it's like anywhere from 10 to 15% from what I believe I remembered reading. So that's a very minor pay percentage that they got to give to Steam to have their game on that platform, and they still get the majority of the revenue from the game being bought and all the microtransactions. So
What's the guarantee that they get more people to play their game all because it's on a different
oh,
launcher?
Steam, do you know how big it is? Millions of people
I
play it.
know.
Wait, if you're looking at like Steam versus Blizzard or Steam versus Epic Games, their player percentage or player base is like 70% more than any other launcher on PC.
So basically, what you're telling me is gamers are so fucking lazy that they won't play a game strictly because they don't want to download another launcher.
Well, let's go
I
with
mean, because
your
that's in essence what you're saying.
well, let's go with your thing.
Uh
Loyalty.
huh.
People are loyal
Hmm.
to Steam. That's
Hmm.
all it is. Just like you will never buy an Xbox because you're loyal to PlayStation, or vice versa. Like there's been games that come on PlayStation that you'll never play on Switch. Same
Hmm.
difference.
Hmm. The only difference is it's a console versus this is both PC. That's
Mm,
that's where it has me a little
I
confused.
mean, it's all digital applications that are just being played in a different launcher, essentially. Like a console is just a different launcher. That's all it is, really.
Not entirely.
Same game,
You're
different way to
using your same PC.
same difference. You could play whatever game on PlayStation 5 on Xbox, but you choose PS5. They both launch the same game. You just prefer the way it launches on that service. That's exactly what Steam
Mm,
versus Epic versus Blizzard. That's all it is.
I don't know about that one, but anyhow, all right. I think I got a clear picture now. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. But
Oh, they're gonna get a
well,
lot of players for sure, guaranteed. Like if they thought they were getting a lot of money before, they're gonna get big bucks now. People on Steam are hardcore, man.
I mean, I have a client, so like for me, it's whatever. It's just like I said, clicking another launcher. It doesn't bother me none. I just couldn't fathom to think that what you just explained to me.
Yeah, people like the user base. They like the community aspect to it. I mean, Steam's
I
just
mean, I,
an
I
OG
mean, I
operator.
mean, I kind of, how can I put it? Like, I obviously am a little surprised, but at the same time, now that I think about it very quickly, I'm not that surprised because, like, just being a gamer with, like, WoW, for example, over, damn near 2 decades, like, how many times has voice programs changed over these last 2 decades? So many times. And to me, I could never fathom, it's like, we were just using this program last expansion. Why does everybody have to convert to a new one? Same thing like social media, like, went from MySpace to Facebook, whatever. But it's just what it is. So
It's
I,
weird that you're like can't understand that more accessibility and more play on your preference is a bad thing.
it's that wasn't really it. The part that got me was like that. it strictly is just a launcher difference, which really it is.
Okay, so let's say this, because that really is just it. If let's say there's a site like I don't know Netflix, and they
Hmm.
specifically made you watch it only on Internet Explorer or Bing, I think they call it now,
Hmm.
and you can't watch it on Google, would you switch? Most likely you wouldn't.
Versus just because of the browser?
Yeah, like you prefer. What's your preferred search engine? Most likely Google, right?
Yes.
So why don't you so let's say a lot of the applications you use go to let's say Firefox or whatever. Would you still use them or would you just stay on Google?
Well, I love Firefox. I'm sad that it went away, or not that it went away, but it
Firefox
went.
didn't go
No, no,
away.
I'm sorry. It went to trash. Is what I meant to say. It went to trash. That was a sad day.
All right.
It is. It went to crap. I don't know what happened. Poor Fox.
Actually, I like it a lot because whenever I want to take a screen cap, well, how do I say this? If you want piracy, you go to Firefox because they don't have any video
No
playback
firewalls and
protection.
shit.
So that means you could literally, like, let's say if I'm watching Netflix, I could literally record the whole season of a Netflix show, and that's it. While if you're on Google, because they have video playback protection, you can't record their screen. So Firefox and all that other stuff is like the place for piracy.
Didn't know that, but yeah, I used to use it so much, and I forgot what transpired that killed it for me. Uh, and then I was like forced to use Chrome, and then I just got used to Chrome, and well, now it's Microsoft Edge, right? Yeah, Microsoft Edge. So yeah,
Wait, Chrome
I
isn't
can't.
Microsoft Edge.
Hmm?
Chrome isn't Microsoft Edge.
No, no,
Chrome
I'm
is
saying
Google.
that. No, no, but I'm saying that was where I went from Mozilla to Chrome to Microsoft Edge.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all I see is a good thing. I'm glad people are finally getting a chance to play on the service they like. Just like when Among Us, when they went across all platforms, Epic, Steam, all that stuff, their revenue increased tenfold. So it's just a good thing for Blizzard. They're just making more money. That's all it
Well,
is.
well, the Among Us is once again a little bit different because it started only PC,
Well, it
and,
started
and now
only
and now
on the
you're and
select
now you're
browser.
expanding to all, huh?
I think it only was on Steam, and
Right.
then as it built, it went to Epic Games, and then after Epic Games, then it went to PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, mobile. So
Is Epic Games another client?
yes,
Okay, I never
there's like
owned
seven
them.
video game launching clients. So you got GOG, Game Over Game or
Yeah.
whatever, whatever, and then Epic Games. You got Steam, you got Blizzard Net, whatever, Battle.net, whatever it's called. There's a lot of clients. And it's whatever your UI preference is. Wherever you have the most games, you want to play there.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. But anywho, any other small news that you
Yes.
have?
So
Yes.
there's actually, I know we talked about last week or the week before, Threads, a new social
Yep.
media app brought by Facebook, or I guess they're trying to say Instagram, even though it's the same company.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at their or the Threads search results, Thread has plummeted significantly in search engines. So that means less people are looking into it, less people are interested. Also, Threads created an update recently where they're now adding a rate limit, which or like a search limit. And people are like, "Oh, we left Twitter, and now we're basically getting the same thing." Which I'm not gonna say Threads shouldn't do this because all social media things need to do this because there's a lot of spam bots on all, social media sites, and so this is one way to combat it without having overworking your employees. So this is understandable just because of the cyber threats that a lot of these bots cause. But
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's funny that people went to Thread saying that they're going to get away with the rate limit and it's follow them over there. But not only
Yeah.
that, I'm sorry. Do you want to add something to that?
No, I would. The only thing I was gonna say is I just thought it was so funny seeing like once again the loud minority exodus, jumping ship, only to have the same shit happen to them. It's like, wonder if they're gonna come crawling back now. Like,
Oh, they did. Most
it's,
I look at Threads because I still have it. I still check up all those other social media sites, like they still have a small user base, but like obviously there's like that trend moment where it's like, oh, it's popping off for a second, but then like
Hmm.
usually after a week it dies off. That's exactly what Threads did. And plus it's owned by Mark Zuckerberg. He is the most copycat restricted person on the planet. He'll copy a good idea, implement it in the worst way possible, and that's what Threads was. He pretty much killed it himself because even he doesn't use it. I think he hasn't posted in like over 12 days.
Hmm.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, if the CEO doesn't use it, why would you use it? Like, at least Elon Musk, like him or hate him, at least he uses his platform every single day.
Yeah. No, that is very, very true.
But
The one I do want not to like go off the rails here, but I don't know if this has been happening to you or not, but like I know, we've obviously talked about Twitter a lot, within the last half year, especially with the whole transition to Elon and stuff, and we tend to bring up any major change he implements on our podcast, and more times than not, I'm not trying to say this in a negative way, but you kind of like endorse a little bit like his decisions, or not.
it
Maybe endorse is the
depends.
wrong word to use, but like you understand why he's making certain decisions. I guess is a better way of putting it, right? So with that said, like I don't know, like timestamp wise when it exactly happened, but I know it's more fairly recently, like within the last couple major changes he's done is implemented. But I've been now getting a lot more odd or just spam followers and likes. And I never had that problem before until like he's implementing all these stricter rules, and it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I'm having the opposite effect now.
So this is all across the board. This is one of the major reasons why they implemented the rate limit because right now in China, Russia, other countries, even the U.S., we have massive hacker pools that are creating artificial accounts and bots and all that stuff to do this following and to trying to siphon data by search engines and all that stuff. That's the reason why he did this. Unfortunately, like I said, certain changes that have happened recently with Twitter, I support because I understand like the security aspects behind it. Unfortunately, Elon Musk doesn't explain it well, and that's his
Mhm.
problem. And I think he needs to work on that. But the reason why you're seeing all these followers is just because right now the whole internet across all social media is being attacked by bots, and you're just gonna see it nonstop. So you'll see a whole bunch of followers, and a couple days later you'll see them all disappear because the people on all cybersecurity fronts are working nonstop 24/7 to take these spam bots down because they're trying to
Gotcha,
siphon your metadata to see what you're typing, what you're searching, what you're talking to.
gotcha. Yeah, I just like, I mean, I don't follow it like you do. That's kind of why I brought it up. But like, I just thought it was, you know, coincidental, I guess, to say that,
This has
you
happened
know,
way before Elon. It's just you
no, no,
probably didn't
no,
full on go on Twitter during that time.
yeah, no, I understand that. Like, I know it's been an issue, but I just thought it was weird that why is it an issue for me now that they're trying to be more harder and stricter, and I didn't have this issue at all before. And that's the part that has me like a little like baffled. I'm like, the fuck?
Well, you've also been engaging more on social media recently than you have been like the last year, going by your posts and replies. So that's the reason why you're under more eyes by bots is because like, oh, this user's active. Let me go ahead and check them out and see what I can get from them.
I I kind of agree with you, but it's a little odd that they're liking stuff that I posted like a year ago.
Yes, because they're like basically
They're playing catch up.
they're sifting through your account to see like it's basically like search engines. They're seeing what you liked, what you talk about, and then they're gonna purposely target things in your direction that you've mentioned.
Gotcha.
That's why
So
they're going all the way back through history.
that makes sense then. Yeah, they're driving the van that says, "Hey, we got cheese sandwiches in this van. You like cheese sandwiches?"
You like midget wrestling? We got tickets for you. But yeah,
Uh,
this isn't a Twitter specific
so,
thing.
I'm sorry. The fact that you said that makes me laugh because we actually did get our tickets for free.
That's funny.
We didn't even have to pay half price. We got them for free.
That is hilarious.
That is so funny. Um, but okay, now that does make a little bit more sense. That's why
Yeah,
I have conversations with you.
yeah. Unfortunately, right now, because we're in such a like people like to say, most wars are fought physically. there's so many cyber wars going like on across countries that it's insane. People are trying to get your data.
Oh yeah.
Like I before I started, working in the tech scene, I used to be like, oh, I have nothing to hide. My account's open. They don't look to steal your identity that way. They look to see what you're watching and looking at, and then like basically impersonate your digital, self everywhere else, and that's how they get you. So there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that I can't really talk on too much because I also have to fight it too, and there's a lot of NDAs that you sign when you're in those scenes.
Oh, believe me, I know about NDAs. You don't have to go any further.
Yeah, but
I have them in my job too, so I don't talk about my job.
going on with Twitter, one thing as a positive note, besides all these restrictions and all that stuff to fight spam bots, Twitter is now paying creators based on impressions. Impressions are basically how much a tweet or post is seen by someone or engaged with, and also ads that are being posted on their page, and people are looking at that. So now people are getting paid for just posting on Twitter, depending on how many people look at them.
I know that's a thing. Although I'm sure I'm seeing a lot of false info on that too. But how does one just get into that? Like, what's the minimum requirements to start doing that shit?
So I I'm trying to remember. I did look at it because you can actually, if you look at your phone right now, there's a thing on the bottom left when you click on your profile. It says Twitter for professionals, and it says like AdSense or whatever or monetizations. If you click on, they'll tell you exactly what your requirements are. I think it's like 1,000 followers or whatever, 5 million impressions or something like that,
Mm.
or like certain streams watched, whatever. And also you have to follow certain guidelines as well. So if you've been flagged and your monetization privileges have been revoked, you will have to talk to Twitter and see if you could either revoke it or see how you can move past it, depending if you're problematic or not. Because a lot of
Yeah.
people have been revoked before Elon took over because of things that they might not have realized they mentioned or commented or liked.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people contacting Twitter right now to see how they can get in this as well.
Interesting.
But
Cool.
yeah,
Cool.
you could check it right here on your page. Like it's there for everybody to see, and they'll tell you basically what your requirements are. Or if you had some kind of community guideline strike, they'll tell you if you've been disabled, and you just contact Twitter that way.
Gotcha. Yeah, I might have to read a little bit into that. Not that I'm probably anywhere near qualified anyway, but just just for knowledge purposes.
Yeah, I think the bare minimum is do have to have like at least 1,000 followers and 5 million impressions.
Yeah, which is
So that
yeah,
means you have to be active on social media to get that.
yeah, which means you pretty much already have to have a presence somewhere in the world too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think it's cool.
but
Like I've seen some people already making like tens of thousands of dollars based off of this, and obviously they're probably like the 1%. And I've seen people make like $50 or $100, whatever. So at least it's giving more people an alternate source of revenue, which is always a good thing to have on any front. So like people are looking at Twitch, YouTube, Kick, whatever, and now Twitter is potentially a source. Now Twitter's also trying to focus on bringing back live streaming through their Periscope app that they bought a long time ago, and now they might also be a streaming front too.
Jesus, Periscope, haven't heard that one in a while.
Yeah, it's funny. Before Elon Musk bought Twitter, Twitter actually bought another company called Periscope, and they tried to use Periscope to compete with Facebook Live and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, the old Twitter did not know how to utilize Periscope. But because they still own the streaming technology, Elon Musk is trying to invent it or reutilize it and make it some like new thing, basically like Twitch, YouTube, whatever.
I'll like to see it.
Yeah, I mean, people are already starting to make some certain things. I'm pretty sure within like the next like 7 months, we'll see it kick off.
Cool, cool.
Uh,
Maybe that would be the one that makes me leave Twitch. Maybe because then it'll be like a one-stop shop.
yeah. If you're gonna leave Twitch for video game streaming, don't go to Twitter. YouTube would be your most solid bet.
We'll see. I mean, that was like a talking on my ass statement. So
Yeah, if you're gonna do like live updates or like anything like IRL, then Twitter would be the way to do it, or Instagram Live. Other than that, video game related, YouTube and Twitch are the only real options.
so I don't know if you know this question. Now I guess I'm thinking of other things. So like because Twitter does allow parody accounts as long as you claim it as a parody account, right? So how does that then work with like you owning multiple accounts? You could still get um, monetization under both accounts?
Yeah, as long as you're not breaking any guidelines. Yeah. So Satan and God can make a lot of money.
Oh, talked about that last time. Or no, I did. Did I talk about? No, I was talking that with my friends. Or did I say that on the podcast too? I
Yes,
can't
how
remember.
God deleted their post when evil
Yes,
took
yes.
over and
Okay,
all that
okay, okay.
stuff.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought I brought it up on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they technically could make a lot of money.
Well, I know you don't delve on social media that often, since I am pretty much having to learn all this stuff. Twitter, at least Twitter, specifically has it where you can have multiple accounts logged in on your device, so you just have to press a certain button, and you can cycle between all your active accounts
On one feed.
on one feed. Like,
Oh,
I don't want to show it too much, but
yeah.
like if you hit, whoops, my phone turned off. But like if you see right there on
Mm-hmm.
top, you'll see my
Mm-hmm.
main profile, and then you'll
Mm-hmm.
see my other profiles right there, like the Automata
Mm-hmm.
podcast. And I just
Mm-hmm.
tap that, and I can cycle through my other accounts.
Mm. Yeah, I haven't paid attention to that.
There's a lot of things you could do on social media that a lot of people aren't privy to.
Yeah, I know. YouTube is very easy
Yeah, just
to cycle.
click the icon on the right and then swap through
Yeah,
it.
like
Same
it.
difference.
Yeah, that's when you're explaining. That's kind of what I was thinking in my head, and yeah, that's great because it really is very user friendly.
Mm, that's why
So
Twitter's number one.
yeah, I mean,
I know I sound like I'm dick riding really hard right now on Twitter, but like company
no, I mean,
competition wise, it's doing very, very well.
no, I mean, like I don't think that, but you give credit where credit due. I mean, that's why I use it. That's why it's my only social media platform because I've once again said it several times in this podcast. I got rid of Facebook. I was done with it, and it's quite funny that even now, like we're in July, and I got rid of it as my New Year's resolution, so to speak. And there's people that probably still don't know I got rid of it, but the ones that finally do find out, like, when did you get rid of Facebook? I'm like, damn, you barely know us now in June. Like, guess that's how important I was in your life.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it could be that. Well, I know I've mentioned this, I believe, last week as well when we were talking about Twitter threads or the week before. But Facebook, too, their interactions have gone down significantly. The only one that's doing well for them is just Instagram, but that's mostly because of the video platforming and the live streaming and Reels. And that Facebook's dying too. Like, the user base is really down.
I mean, I hate to sound this way, but like I dare say good, but like seriously, I just place is just fucking toxic land, man. Just I mean, once again, Twitter isn't no saint either, but I experience a lot less than Facebook I ever did on Facebook.
But
So
that just shows that Zuckerberg is just a thief. That's all he is. Because like he stole Facebook from someone else when he was in college, and he worked with the LimeWire guy to basically cheat him out of that. And then once he kicked his partners out, Facebook died, and it stayed the same stagnant thing it was for years. Then he bought Instagram because he's seen how popular it's going. Luckily, the Instagram people are smart to write in their contract if they're going to sell it, they still have creative ownership. That's why it's still thriving. And then same thing with Threads. They tried to copy that and it failed. So Zuckerberg as a CEO is not a good CEO. He just got lucky at knowing people and stealing from them at that time.
hmm yeah, no, timing is huge because I mean, I guess once again, credit's due. Like, yeah, MySpace was out there, and you could probably suggest and say they were thriving, but because of the landscape of the world, he, to your point, stole it or whatever, and just did things right at the right time, but he just wasn't successful in maintaining it. So.
Yeah, he just knew the right people to steal it from. Like I can't remember the two brothers or two people that originally created it. They call it something else, but basically same UI, same interface. They wanted to simplify social posting instead of doing like HTML, CSS, and all that stuff for coding to make your web page and a simple text-based service. They wanted to make it like a video site and all that stuff. And because during that time he had a smart partner that also knew coding and all that stuff, he was able to implement the same thing once Zuckerberg fired his partner. as well, that's when it stayed stagnant. And then he's like, all right, we're gonna keep rotating.
Yeah. Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, that just shows that she has never prospered. Like, yes, he made a lot of money, but without the people actually with smarts or creativity behind it, it's not going to last. Same thing with Meta. The one original idea he had was Meta, and look at how bad that failed him. he,
See, I
he
don't,
spent billions on that digital universe, and it tanked completely.
yeah, see, I don't even remember that at all. So,
You don't remember the metaverse? That's like the whole online digital. Everything's gonna be digital space, metaverse, blah.
no, I
And then within
don't.
3 months, people just like shot it down. They're like, "Nah, we're not doing that."
No, that one I don't remember at all.
So yeah, it's bad. So I pretty much covered up all my little tidbits. Oh, one more
Oh,
thing, I forgot. Um, this is a game series called Borderlands. It's made by Gearbox and
uh,
I think published by 2K Sports. Uh, have you heard or played Gearbox? Or sorry, Borderlands?
no, I have friends that have played it, and it looks fun. But just never got into it.
So I heard rumors that they were making a movie about Borderlands, which I thought was very interesting. And today, the Borderlands official account said Borderlands coming to theaters August 9, 2024. They also released the cast. That's going to be it. Kate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Ariana Greenblatt, or Belt. Well, I don't know her name. Jamie Lee Curtis, and a couple more people. But all they have is a logo, and that's it. So I want to know if it's gonna be live action, or if it's gonna be like a live action with
Mm.
the cell shaded effect, or if it's gonna be
Hmm.
animated.
It's a good thought. I wasn't thinking of that. I don't know why I immediately think live action, but now that you say that, I'm kind of hoping it's not. Even though I don't really have a horse in this race, I'm not a fan of it. But I think if it kind of stood true to the game and the animation looked very much like that, I think that would be a win.
I
And then
think
they're all just voice actors.
to me that's the
But
only way to go about this because one of the things that people fell in love with Borderlands, besides the gameplay of being in the Mad Max universe, is the
mm-hmm,
very unique art style of cell shading.
very unique. Yep.
It's basically also like basically what made the game the game. So if
Mm-hmm,
they take that away, you're taking a core part of the game away.
correct. I agree. And I mean, not what, how many times I've said this, not to throw shade, but like I like Kevin Hart, I like Jack Black, but if you're gonna put them in live action, to me that just doesn't sound right for that genre, that game. For
Yeah.
for as little as I know. So, but to utilize their voices, I think will be fine.
The only problem is I know Jack Black and I know Kevin Hart, and the only position that I can ever think of them in is Claptrap. It's like a little robot that's kind of dumb and whimsical and all that stuff. That's the only character I could see either of those two playing, but the fact that they're both in it, that
Mm-hmm.
terrifies me because I don't know what other character they're going to play. Also, they're going to completely introduce a new character or two bots or whatever because
Mm-hmm.
they can't play Mordecai, they can't play Brick, they can't play, I forgot the soldier's name is, Roland, and they can't play Lilith because it just doesn't fit them.
Yeah, see all that I have no idea about. Um
Maybe Jack Black could play Brick, but he would have to do a really good voice, and Brick sounds, how do I say it, black. Like he's a white character,
but
but
Kevin
he's
Hart can't do
well. Kevin
it.
Hart doesn't have like a deep, rugged voice to play Brick.
Yeah,
He has
yeah.
the humor to play him, just not the voice. I mean, maybe
Maybe
he
he'll
could play
be.
Mordecai, but
I was
that
saying,
would also be weird.
maybe he'll be a real voice actor and put on his deep man voice.
It's just hard because I don't want to dismiss them, but I just can't see them playing any of these characters. Same thing with Jamie Lee Curtis. The only character I could picture her playing is maybe Tannis, but that's a big if. So the voice, I mean, I've been skeptical of things before, like the Mario thing, and it turned out halfway decent. Maybe I'm wrong with this, but I feel like Jack Black and Kevin Hart are only being picked because they're just popular right now.
I wouldn't say right now. They've been popular for quite some time, but
Well,
but
yeah, they've been popular for a long time, but I'm talking about like they're the big trend because of Jumanji, Mario, and some other stuff. But
yeah.
like I said, I like them. I do,
Mhm.
especially Kevin
Mhm.
Hart with his stand-up stuff.
Mhm.
I just can't see him in the
But
Borderlands series.
Kevin Hart's really has been doing a lot of animated stuff. I mean, wasn't he like in a couple different dog movies?
Oh
He's
yeah,
like,
like the Nut Job, or is it the Nutty Job, Nut Job, something like that. It's an animated movie. He was also in something with dogs with Jackie Chan and I think um, George Lopez as well.
was he also in that one? Well, this was a live action one, which I haven't watched. With Will Ferrell, was he in that one too? I
Live
can't
action with Will
remember.
Ferrell. He's been in a couple movies with Will Ferrell. It's hard to tell which one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's true too. No, they're. I think this came out last year, but it's a live action dog movie, and I believe Will Ferrell voices a stray dog, and he like tries to join a neighborhood clique, and I don't remember. I want
Oh,
to say Kevin Hart is
is
one of
that
them.
is that the Sausage Party like dog version where they're very dark, dirt wash of
Yeah,
humor?
yeah, like dirty. Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think they came out yet. I think it's coming out soon.
Oh, oh, it hasn't come out yet. Oh,
Yeah, because I've seen trailers for it recent. I mean, maybe it did come out recently, but I do remember
but
that
they,
it's either coming out soon or it just came out.
I think we do it at least once a podcast, right? And it's time for the good old Google machine.
Yeah, because I've seen it too. I thought that was funny.
It's called Strays, and
And is it with Will Ferrell? I thought Seth Rogen was one that wrote it or something like that.
I don't know if he wrote it, but he's Will Ferrell does the main voice. That much I do know. Oh, it hasn't come out. You're right. It's August 18th, so it's on the horizon. Oh, and it's not Kevin Hart. My apologies. It's actually Jamie Foxx.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's the reason I remember because he was doing the voice acting and then he had a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I remember it. But I was like,
Which
I knew
he's
it didn't come out yet, or it's coming out very soon.
which he sounds like he's rehabbing
Well, he's in Chicago for
really
rehab.
good. Yeah, I know. He's been spotted like at like Top Golf and like right kind of close by me and
Well, he also
oh
did Top
wait.
Golf in downtown, right next to the Circuit Court thing. Because me and my mom actually seen him.
Oh no shit. Yeah, he's been spotted around town just like a normal dude, which is cool.
Yeah.
I think something happened where like he prevented an old lady from or a lady at least from being robbed, like purse snatched or something. Like something like that came out too already.
I can't remember, but there's been a lot of things about him recently.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of concerns. Obviously, he's going to like one of the best rehab centers for all that stuff. There are
Mm-hmm.
rehabilitation centers for his stroke,
Mm-hmm.
but you could tell there's a visible difference. And
Yeah.
I hope that he can recover because I really do like Jamie Foxx. To me, he's like the Justin Timberlake of acting. He can act, he can sing, he can dance. He's funny. He can do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I like Jamie Foxx a lot. I got time for Jamie.
yeah.
So on that note, anything else?
No, I think I pretty much covered all my little quick news things I can have.
Cool. All right then. Let's go ahead and usher into our first topic for today. And we were supposed to talk about this last week, and we were gonna kind of organically transition from our other topic with that one chick who I don't even remember her name anymore, if I'm being honest.
Oh, Colleen
Um,
Ballinger, dude, she's getting worse and worse, man. There's been more
is it?
updates, but
Oh
that's
God.
that we'll leave that alone.
Okay,
She's
we'll leave that alone. But we're talking about her shitty apology video and all that stuff. And we're going to transition to this topic, which we have titled called hazing. Is it ever okay? Question mark. And the reason being is because for those that don't know, I don't even know if we've actually like really flat out made it a statement, but both Josh and I were from the greater Chicagoland area, and I have no problem releasing that information. Sorry, Josh, but
well, you're not in
but
Chicago. I still live in
I
Chicago.
said greater Chicagoland area. You're technically still in it, yes, but I used to be. We used to be on opposite sides of the park. Anyway, so with that said, there's been national coverage of one of our local colleges, and I'm not a big college fan, and I'll probably make that very known quickly here. Northwestern University, their football squad was under huge investigation for hazing, and it's kind of really over the last couple of weeks, maybe even 3 weeks or so at this point, really blossomed into pretty much the whole college itself with all their athletics, including softball, baseball. They even fired their baseball coach in between
Oh,
this last
they did
podcast.
that
Yeah,
too.
yep, they did that too. Um, so it's a huge culture problem at that university. Became national attention because it stems with athletics. So the idea is, okay, this quite possibly can't be the only college that it's happening to, right? Um, we're not going to really get totally into that, but it that's where it's at this point, where now they're like all colleges are like shaking in their boots because like, oh shit, we could be next, and that wouldn't surprise me. I don't think hazing was just at this one college and that's it. I think hazing's done at all levels. I'll probably even like we were talking a little bit earlier about like grammar school nonsense. I don't know. I think grammar school is a little bit more like not as how could I put it
It's
cultured like
usually high school up. That's when it happens.
exactly. And that's what I was gonna say. Like I think grammar school like dumb shit happens, but it's not like it's like a well thought out process like in the high school level and
Well,
beyond.
let's also clarify this too, because usually
Yes.
people have the term hazing as like an extreme negative, like either physical abuse or sexual abuse, like in the Northwestern thing. Hazing
Hmm.
could just be like an initiation thing where they make you do certain trials, like, oh, in
Correct.
high school you join the football team. Next thing you know, you gotta clean up all the laundry and do the field equipment for like a whole
Hmm.
month because you're the new guy, and that's how your initiation in.
Correct. 100%. And those are all little highlights that we'll get into, right? And that's why I'm saying, is it ever okay, right? Because the way you kind of brought it out there, it's a little bit more, or dare I say, it is more docile comparing to. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things in Northwestern. Like, I don't think everything has come to light yet because they're still interviewing. Now these actual students are actually coming out and talking about their experiences. But some of the ones that they were talking about were like them getting and talking about at this rate, whether you consider them grown ass men or not, but they're getting fully naked and are then some of them are humping on each other, which
Oh, so that's interesting for me because I what I read is that the coach, or they were saying the coach was kind of like signaling to, hey, he's the new guy, whatever, and he would look like a clapping signal, and what they would do is that they would gang up on him, gang up the player, tie him down, and they would dry hump him clothed. So you're saying they're fully naked and humping him?
there's times that it was done naked as well. From
Okay,
from
so
from
it
from from
depends.
from stu from yeah from student I guess testimonials now.
Okay, that's way
Uh,
worse than dry humping.
yeah, no, yeah, no. Some of it, like, and like I said, I don't even think all of it's really been shared yet either. But even the one you pointed out, right? Because I was aware of that one too. Um, even that is just like I don't know. I just can't fathom that thought process. And like I've never been in team athletics, and even at the high school level, I tried, but that's neither here or there. But I couldn't fathom doing that. And if I may kind of like really rewind this, because like I like hazing, right? It can have so many levels. I mean, so many different things. But like even just being a freshman in high school, and we'll just take the athletic part out of it. Like I don't know if you've experienced like freshman hell week or something of that magnitude,
Well,
but
I was one of those lucky kids that was much taller than much taller and older than I appeared, so people didn't know I was a freshman.
so well that's a good thing. Me, I wasn't. However, surprisingly enough, I could actually say I never experienced that, and which is kind of surprising, I guess. Maybe I don't know, but uh, I didn't experience it happen to me, nor did I really see it happen to anybody else. So I don't know if it's just once again you talk about culture. I don't know if it's because the school had a better culture and they kind of like educated their students to be like, no, don't fucking do that. It's stupid, or there will be repercussions if you are caught doing this. Um, so with that said, like, you know, hazing really, for most people or kids, start experiencing at that point of their life is a freshman in high school. And now, I don't think I've ever heard a horror story where, uh, you know, they force XYZ kid to get naked and do something. I mean, you know, I'm sorry if it happened to anybody out there. Maybe it has, but like once again, I didn't see that. And I actually did have a swim class where, you know, we did get naked, but that was because we had to change. But I never seen anything stupid being done. Um, I think maybe the blunt of the stupidity was they took somebody's trunks and threw it out of the shower, so then they had to go walk out butt naked back to go grab it. But you know, once again, is it ever okay? See something like that, I kind of attribute like, yeah, it happened once, it was funny, you let go. But if it's like a reoccurring theme, I think like once again, maybe I got lucky, but I felt like the group of people, like somebody would have stepped up and say, hey, stop that fucking shit. Like you're just being a dick, right? But when it becomes a culture issue, like you're talking about the athletics, like they have this whole like brainwash mentality where it's like, oh, we're gonna break them down so then we can rebuild them back up. It's like what?
I'm sorry.
Like
When you said break him down, I was saying what that mean. Prank him, John. I'm sorry. I continue. For some reason, when you
no,
said that, the meme popped in my
no,
head.
no, it's totally fine. Um, and I don't know. I could just never. I just can't grasp like the whole hazing concept. Like to me, like I think it's also why I have a dismay for college and dismay for athletics. And I mean, not really athletics because I love sports, but like I guess college athletics. Like I feel like it's always had a smear in the back of my mind because like now that this is coming out, like it's like, well shit, that's always taking place. Now it's an issue. Like, you know, it's like it's just happened for decades.
Well,
Um
for me, I think the issue is the not differentiating hazing culture because, like, obviously there's the extremes where people either do like like I said, beat them up, basically like being jumped into a gang, or it
yeah.
could just be something,
Initiation.
or it could be something simple like, hey, you got to give us something personal, we'll hold on to it until whatever. It's like the brotherhood pact, or you're showing us your commitment or whatever. Like it can range like for example, if you go into college and you do fraternities and all this stuff, some of the hazing process is getting branded.
Yeah, so I definitely kind of want to segue into that too, like fraternities and sororities. Sororities could be just as
Sororities
disgusting.
are probably worse because I've heard some horror stories from sorority girls how their initiation is they literally have to sleep with somebody they don't want to.
Correct, correct. So like it's not like it's not even like a gender problem. It's just it's that
It's a culture.
culture.
Well, it's a culture problem depending on the severity and that group you're going into.
Yes, and then like it brings me to a point. It's like this has so many how it's so complex. Like first off, why like what are you missing in your life that that's what you want to get into? Like that's what you've been missing in your life, and then that's what you have to do to fill that void. Like I don't know. Like it's hard for me. It's hard for me to answer that,
I'm
but
gonna.
like that's one thought that crosses my
I
mind.
think the mentality is that when it first happened, somebody was sick and twisted. They forced this punishment onto them, and then the people going forwards were like, "Well, I went through it. Now you have to go through it." So they're
Oh
like, "If
no,
I get abused, now you have to get abused."
no, that's exactly how it snowballs, right? Exactly, and that's what some of the kids actually said, because when it was happening to them, they said, or they felt like this isn't right. But then once they were being told by everybody else that, oh, we had to do this too, now it's an acceptance thing. Like, oh, okay, now I get it because they all did it. So see that's where like you know tradition like that ain't like I guess in some way you call it tradition, but like it's stupid
Well,
and
I wouldn't say it's stupid. Depending on which hazing process you're talking about, I do understand because tradition does matter. Like people in the military, they have a hazing process so that once they go through basic training, they'd go through a mustard gas pit. And basic, I mean, yes, it sucks from what I've heard from people, but that's usually like your ultimate test of tolerance. If you can get through that, you're good. But you're told beforehand this is gonna happen, and you gotta get through it, and it's your choice. I think that's the
Hmm.
difference that people need to do is that hazing, in my opinion, it should be accepted depending on the severity. Like if you're sexual abuse, no, that hazing process needs to stop. But depending on the physical aspect, if you know what you're getting into and you're told that this is the requirements and you choose to accept that, then that's different than being blinded and being hazed when you didn't know this was going to happen. I think that should be how the culture changes. Is that if you're going to join this, community, brotherhood, whatever, and you know what the process is to get in, and you accept that, then that's on you and the group as your tradition. Same thing with getting branded. Most people know that they're going to get branded. That's why they do it.
I think, like, I kind of level with you, but then I think the unfortunate problem with that is if you then don't, like, you make the conscious decision, say, oh, those are your terms, no thank you,
And then you can
then
say
they
no
end
thank
up,
you and walk away.
no, well, not all the time, because then there's all the times where like then they start bullying that person, like it's like, oh, you didn't want to join us, so fuck you, now we're gonna make your life miserable. Then there's that culture
But
because they're fucking idiots.
yeah, but that's not all of them. Most of the
No,
time,
I know,
once you reject it, they're like they're done with you. They don't even want to talk to you because
but but
you didn't, join their
but
brotherhood.
but that's part of the peer pressure aspect, is what I'm saying. Like that's part of the manipulation, because like now you've already, dare I say, you reached a point where you've gone too far and you can't refuse.
Well, I'm gonna say
I know
this, and
that's
I'm
not,
I'm,
no,
I'm
that's
gonna
not
I'm gonna
true,
say
but
personal accountability. You have to learn to say no if you don't want it. At this, I mean, like I said, there's a difference between being forced and choosing. And if you choose, even under peer pressure, you're still choosing, and that's on your call. You can still say no, but if you're weak and you didn't say no, that's on you.
hmm hmm
Personal accountability also has to be into this a little bit. Like I
oh,
said, if it's a
I don't,
choice, but
I
force is a
don't
different story.
disagree for sure. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that for sure. But like, but either way, right? Like you brought up sorority, or I'm sorry, you brought up fraternities, and then I threw in sororities. They're, dare I say, one and the same. But like, um, I'm glad you did, because like I was gonna segue into that too, and like we talk about it because it's known, right? Like, obviously, yeah, we see it in movies, but we see it in movies because movies take it from reality, right? Uh, so it's a culture that's existed since they've existed. So with that said, when they're under, pretty much college, uh, not surveillance, but they're on their grounds, they're on their property, all that shit. So it's like, how come they haven't stepped in ages ago with some of this shit? Those are like, I guess, like I sit here and it kind of makes it sound like I'm a hater for colleges, but seriously, like they allow all of this to happen.
Well,
And I think the part that also irks me a lot too is the fact that they now turn a blind eye. That's like, oh, we didn't know, and it's like, fuck you, you didn't know.
so I'm gonna play your side here, devil's advocate, a
Sure.
little bit.
Oh, of
I
course.
think most universities, colleges, etc., whatever organizations know it's happening, but sometimes they might not know to the extent of how bad the hazing process is. They might know that there might be an initiation where somebody's got to do certain requirements, and they probably sugarcoat it. They're like, oh, that's
Hmm.
okay, that's acceptable. And then when they find out the real truth, they're like, oh, we didn't green light that. That's an issue. But
Hmm.
then also at the same time, if I'm going to go the opposite side, if you're the owner of the thing, you should be there for the hazing process to act as a mediator, to make sure nobody gets harmed or etc.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's doing that.
No, I'm saying that that should be a thing. That should be like if you're in the organization, there should be
like
like a
like
mediator
like
to make
like
sure it doesn't go too far.
university chaplain, we're gonna need you Friday night to watch over all our hazing activities.
Some
What I thought,
organizations do that though. Like
you know what, it wouldn't surprise
they
it
usually like
wouldn't
have their like
surprise
head
me.
leader that like does like the approval, but then they're also not the one doing it. They're just watching,
Yeah,
observing, and
yeah,
saying we
yeah,
are done and all that stuff and moving on.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm sure you're 200% correct. Like I'm sure there's organizations out there, universities out there that are a lot more, uh I don't know,
More
I don't know
observant
what
of
to,
their
more
culture.
humble, more humble with their hazing. Humble hazing. No, but when you were when you were gonna say devil's advocate approach, what I thought you were gonna say, and I've thought about this myself, is like, so like, we talk about college. They're technically adults. So in theory, like kind of you said, they're adults, so therefore they should be able to make decisions on their own. they're not there for their hands to be held. Like high school, different, right? They should step in immediately and negate all that because they're underage. But at the college level, and then now once again, all the sexual stuff that obviously needs to stop. But even then, it's like those are years that are definitely more engaging and whatever, just as bad as high school. So it's like once again, you're an adult, you should be able to make your own decisions. So like that would be my devil advocate's approach.
I already said that
But
earlier, so I didn't want to say it again.
well, I mean, I was bringing it back to light, I guess. But once again, you made a valid point. There's a difference between choosing and being forced, right? So like, yeah, you should never be forced to do anything. And it doesn't even have to be sexual, right? Like it could even be like some people were trying to say like, okay, you take the sexual aspect out, like you brought up, carrying their gear or stuff like that magnitude. And then some people were saying like, oh, maybe even just like singing their fight song in front of everybody, in front of the masses. And it's like, well, okay, to a lot of people that sounds very minimum, right? Like that's not going to have an impact, but it can have a very psychological impact or mental impact because that might be one of their greatest fears is public speaking or doing anything in the public. So although it may affect 95% of the population, no harm, no foul, there's still that small percent that like you could be doing some really bad damage to them because that is one of their biggest fears.
Or it could be the opposite, where it teaches them how to overcome a fear. Because a
Can
lot of
but
people that do these, well, I'm specifically talking about sports here. There's
yeah.
other ways you can get initiated and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them, like, for example, me,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that we did is that you had to tell a secret about yourself that you, one, didn't like, or two, were afraid of. And they
Mm-hmm.
would purposely make you do the thing that you didn't like so you can become better. So, like, if you don't like snakes, you gotta touch a snake. If you don't like spiders, you gotta get rid of spider.
What about a trouser snake?
Well, that's a different braid, and we don't talk about that.
Hey, they said snake, it could take, turn, spin, it won't. No, but like, okay, so, and that's why I like this topic, right? Like, is it ever okay, right? So,
I think it
like,
depends on the case by case, like the severity of the process. But the
mm-hmm,
majority of times, at least for most cultures, I find it acceptable just because it's your way to build a bond with the rest of the people in that group, and it builds camaraderie and trust. Obviously, there's also a certain physical aspect or abuse aspect that you gotta look into, and depending on that, then that's not okay. But I feel like the majority of hazing processes aren't as severe as a lot of the things that are being covered nowadays. I think obviously some of your big organizations like, Hollywood acting stuff or certain college sororities or fraternities or sports maybe do some severe stuff, but I feel like the majority don't do all that stuff.
okay, okay. I mean, I'm kind of in your same ballpark, um, for sure. Like, I think it sounds awful to say, yeah, there's a place for it in the world, but ultimately that's kind of what we're saying, right? But like, yeah, I mean, there could be, how could I put it? I don't know if you want to say honest hazing, but something that's more, um, in good nature, right? Like
Mm.
in good faith. Um, I guess it's up to the beholder on what that is, like, and what isn't. Because we obviously do live in a society where a lot of people get offended a hell of a lot easier, and we know that what could be me and you could laugh it off, have a good chuckle, and someone's taking us to court otherwise. So I mean, no, seriously, like that's just the freaking world we live in.
They're like, oh, you
And
watch midget wrestling, shame on you, shun,
yeah,
execution.
exactly, death penalty for you. Um, so yeah, I actually concur. And yeah, I don't know if you what else you have to add to that, but
Yeah, this is just such like a gray area topic because like obviously you can always point out the extremes, and obviously the extremes are always not acceptable. Like currently the Northwestern one being sexually abused and all that stuff, and if you didn't consent to that stuff, that's wrong, obviously. But I think the conversation for this is just really just case by case, man. And unfortunately, because everybody's experience is so different, some people are like, oh, my process was like, yeah, we had to go through something. We had to be like the chore boy for like the whole season, whatever. it, everybody's gonna have a different answer on this, and that's the complexity of this question, I guess. And that's why when you
Yeah.
brought it up, I liked it so much because my experience was more just to better yourself as a character and learn more about
Hmm.
your teammates or whatever.
Hmm.
But then
Hmm.
some people are like, "Yeah, I got raped."
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. That's the thing, right? Like they, for people defending a certain level of hazing, like you had, it's because they said it's the team building, it's the camaraderie, and more times than not, like, yeah, in the moments or whatever, or for a little bit, they felt like shit, but they were picked back up, right? And they were, it did help. So it can. I truly believe that too. And it's almost similar to like tough love, right? Like, parenting, and we're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but it kind of has a similar thing. It's like you shouldn't freaking do XYZ to your kid, but at some point it might be a good idea to, well, I'm not going to go any further. But it's like, it's the same kind of concept. Like a certain level of it is okay. Is guess what we're saying.
To me, I'm going back to I'm not sure if you ever watched the movie Holes with Shia LaBeouf,
No.
where he's basically like at a juvie camp, he's digging holes in like a desert, whatever.
Mm-mm. No.
So in the beginning of the movie, there's this little girl and the grandpa, and the little girl's being forced to dig holes with a shovel because the grandpa wants to find treasure. And the little girl's like, "I don't want to be out here, Grandpa. It's too hot. I don't want to be digging these holes." He's like, "It's too goddamn bad. It builds character."
Nice. Um, before moving on, if you were ready to move on, I will pose this question at the end because I wanted to take this spin on it too. But since we're both gamers, and I know you've had somewhat of a luxury or privilege to kind of, you did a little team esports, right?
Wait, we're moving on from the topic, or are we staying on the same topic?
No, no, staying on topic. I'll get my thought out. But you had the privilege of doing a little bit of team esports, right?
Yeah, I've gone to events and
Yeah,
competed.
yeah, yeah. So was Hazy never involved with you in any of that?
For the gaming one, no. To me, well, how do I say this? There hasn't been like a requirement hazing,
Mm-hmm.
but depending on the atmosphere esport you're going into, like I've been
Mm-hmm.
into the fighting game esport for a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
was really bad at it, but fighting
Mm-hmm.
game people are very rowdy. They're very
Mm-hmm.
verbal. They'll insult you. I guess in a way that's kind of like your initiation into the sports is that you got to take the trash talk because they're gonna tell you what they hate about you. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe if I was gonna say video game hazing, it'd be that just going to the esports and then them constantly trash talking you in your face and all that stuff and getting in your
Mm-hmm.
face. I guess
Mm-hmm.
that'd be the hazing experience. But other than that, no, not really.
Okay, I would probably chalk that up more to like,
Atmosphere,
were you?
community.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, like, now we're let me clarify this. Were those your opponents talking shit, or was that watchers, like viewers talking shit, or both?
Both, both.
Okay, both. Okay, because I would say like the players talking shit. Like I just chalked it up into competition, right? Like we've talked about that before on the pods, where even like I said, I'm probably the biggest dick on a basketball court. Um, and then yeah, I mean viewers, you're gonna get that. I mean, get that
Well,
streaming sometimes if I've had to have it streaming.
well, nowadays it seems like they've got more tame because of crowd interference. But before, dude, I mean, you've been to the Smash Bros tournaments. That's pretty much how much
Yeah.
I was. You're sitting in these chairs next to your opponent or opposite of the opponent, and the
Mm-hmm.
people watching are literally right next to you while you're playing, bumping you or something like that. That's how it
Mm-hmm.
used to be. Like when you're playing, people would like actually shove you a little bit or
Mm.
like trying to mess you up. Obviously, most of the time
Mm.
it's more verbal. There
Yeah.
might be a little bit of physical stuff, but most of the time
I
the
mean,
rest of the people will shut that down because now you're interfering with competition.
yeah, true, true. I
But
mean, it's funny you say that, like, oh, you were there, like, yeah, but for 2 rounds, so I didn't see any of that.
but you kind of get the gist of it. Like
No,
that's
no,
how
no, no.
close
I
people
get
are. When you're
no,
competing.
100%, 100%. I was just saying, like you said, like the bumping and stuff, or even just the trash talking. Like, I don't, and even when I did get eliminated, like
You
I did
got lucky.
watch.
Your opponent even felt bad for you and said you're not done yet. You gave
No,
up.
and that's my point. Like I felt like it was polar opposite. Like I was being consoled.
Yeah.
And he was gonna buy me like a good humor ice cream bar afterwards because I was so awful. But no, like seriously, like I like I probably should just go to more of those things. But like, I thought it was a great experience. Like me personally, like I thought, the environment was well. People seemed like they were well, having a good time, and there was none of that. Which not everything in the world, like because we're talking about hazing, is supposed to be rainbows and butterflies. But for me, that event kind of seemed that way.
So,
But
so there was a drastic, in my opinion, there was a drastic culture change with competition, like live competition in general. Because
hmm
I competed in the Wild West days from
hmm
2006 to 2014. That's when people were just in your face. There was very little rules for the esports stage and how interactions were dealt with.
hmm
So people were getting crazy out there. But now, because there's a lot more rule sets, people have a lot more
it's
sportsmanship.
more professional.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why it's more, how do you say, rainbows and butterflies now.
yeah,
But it wasn't always like that. But at the same time, even though I might be making it sound negative, you also
yeah,
met a lot of good people back then too. You might still do that now, but like, even though somebody's trash talking you 1 minute, getting in your face, about to fight you, the next moment they'll be like, "Yo, let's go hang out. Let's go do something real quick. We'll do another tag team tournament together or whatever. Well, they'll add you
and
online and play you."
yeah, and probably give you tips and shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. So I guess if I may piggyback the same topic a little bit more, do you think any of that goes around in the esports world?
Oh, probably. But it's
Yeah.
more like, well, I mean, maybe minor teams might have a thing like that, but maybe some huge esports does that, because I know some of the Korean teams, they've gotten so dedicated to their craft that it's no longer playing the game. They actually have to take physical improvement courses like weight training and all that stuff, because they, which I do agree with. They have their players, go to the gym for like 2 to 3 hours a day, because they feel like if you can improve your physical body, it improves your reaction time, and if you feel more energetic, you can play better, you can think better. And maybe there's hazing processes in those organizations, but I haven't been to that level, so I don't know.
Gotcha. Cool, cool. All right, that's everything I wanted to get off for the topic. So
That would be interesting. Too bad, dude. This is like another one of those moments where I wish we had like a larger reach, because I would love to contact somebody in like the esports, atmosphere community that's actually played at the highest level and see what the elites do, because elites versus commoners are drastically different when it comes to
yeah.
backdoors or
Oh, for
closed
sure. I
doors.
can only imagine. Yeah, yeah. Well, but not only that, I think even if we had the luxury of, like, if we had someone to actually interview, I highly doubt they would release that information.
Yeah, because if they do, they're like, oh well, I'm kind of snitching on them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you take anonymous, whatchamacallit, anonymous.
Have them all blacked out with a voice emulator.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did this thing where we just invited her on just for gangbang, and then we're like, you're not on the team no more.
Yeah, for they made sure I had to practice for 7 days straight, so I took Adderall and I couldn't go to sleep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shit. Adderall. Goddamn. Uh, anyway.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, every kind of community atmosphere probably has some sort of hazing in its process. Like, I like sororities and fraternities. Like I said, it's not anything to do with sports, but it still has a hazing process. So why
Mhm.
would video game communities be any different?
Yeah. That's why I put the spin on it
Actually,
because I. Oh.
I was bringing a physical aspect to this, but there
hmm
is hazing. World of Warcraft, a lot of the top guilds, your hazing process is you have to donate so much gold to the guild in order to be accepted, and you have to be the gear boy for them, so the top raiders can get their stuff while you basically just resupply them for as long as until you basically get into the roster rotation.
And to piggyback that, although you probably won't say it's an extreme one, but the original DKP system kind of is a little bit like hazing, just a little bit. You could probably put in that category.
Actually, it's kind of fun now that for some reason now more memories are flooding in. CS:GO did have a competitive team that they had their main roster, but people that were trying to do tryouts would have to do mock battles with the pro team. And basically, they would have all these players here and reenact certain scenarios, and the pros would just use them as training bots. And they would have to be their training bot for whatever their training session was, and they just couldn't shoot back. They had to listen to whatever the coach said, and then if they didn't, they'd just be immediately dropped from that roster. It was some kind of Indian team, but also
Mm,
this Indian team was later dropped because of one of the pro players actually using a aimbot mod
mm.
during competition.
Oh god. See, but like once again, and I'm not trying to say this because it's in the realm of gaming, which we both enjoy, but like to me, that's harmless hazing, right?
Yeah.
It's truly is harmless. Like,
Mm.
and honestly, I'll say this, and if you were somebody that got so upset about that, that's on you. Like I think that one's clear as day. Um, and that's why it sums up our category. Is it over okay? I think we both could give the thumbs up. But when it
Well,
comes to that,
I'm thumbs up and thumbs down depending on the scenario.
well, yes. I mean, it's still thumbs up because is it ever okay? The answer is yes. We do know and we do understand when it comes to explicit forced activities that it's absolutely wrong and needs to get abolished and people need to get reprimanded, especially if they knew about it, which is kind of where, if we may go full circle with this is why the football coach got fired. This is why the baseball coach got fired because, especially football coach, he's been a part of the program for 17 years and he's trying to say he didn't. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but that also shows bad leadership on you. Like, even if you did know, which I think would be more acceptable if you did know, but you just let the team do what they do. If you're a coach and you don't know what your players are doing, that means you're a bad coach. That means you weren't monitoring them and you weren't keeping them on track.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like, you're the leader. You gotta keep leading.
yes, sir. I concur.
But
Alrighty.
I guess we can
Oh,
move on to topic number 2 if you're ready, or do you want to still stay on
nope.
this?
I think I got everything that I wanted to get off chest.
It's it's kind
Go
of
ahead.
funny. This one is kind of still sports related. So, oh man, what's his name? I wrote down in my notes football player, but there's a very specific football player. Let me see. I have it right here. Hold up. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 second. Where the heck is it?
One.
Blake Martinez, a former, I believe he was a Raiders player for the NFL team. He is now retired now, and with his retiring, he decided to take up the craft of buying Pokemon cards and selling them. And supposedly, during his retirement process of buying and selling these cards, he has made $11.5 million in profit with selling Pokemon cards. And I know we talked about, selling before, like video games, cards in general, but the fact that even now other people with more money realize how lucrative this potential industry is, they are starting to invest big money into these cards and trading them basically like it's stocks.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of funny that, people are making millions selling cards.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, dare I say it's always been happening, but I think it's cooler when dare I say it's cooler that you hear it coming from like an ex-professional athlete or whatever it may be. Like even I can't think of the guy's name. Um, the UFC fighter that's married to Paige Van Zandt. Do you know who that guy is? I know if you say his name, I'll probably be like. But anyway, like even he's getting into not Pokemon cards. He's mostly doing I don't know what sports, but he recently started doing it with her, where they're actually doing like the box breaks and all that shit. And it's like I don't know if they're doing this, but I know if I was in his position or her position, I would probably be exploiting it this way. But if I pulled a card and then try to flip it and sell it, I think there's like added value there just because you
They're
got
the,
it
the
pulled from a
person.
celebrity. Yeah, exactly. And
So they're
I'm
double
wondering
dipping on that.
exactly. And I'm wondering if that's part of maybe how he's making money where it's like it's this added stature that's like, well, yeah, you're getting this uh, you know, a dark Charizard card, but you're also getting it from him. So it's like, oh, that's even cooler. Because I mean, in reality, you are paying for that extra backstory. There's no doubt about that. But like, it makes me wonder. Is all I'm saying. Like, does it add that extra celebrity value because it's coming from them?
Intentional or not, it probably does, regardless,
Yeah.
just because people probably were a fan or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy in particular, Blake Martinez, he actually made kind of like a, well, I'm not gonna say it's an official company, but he basically made, a selling store called Blake's Breaks. He, sells on Whatnot, eBay, and all that stuff. He's got thousands of sold items,
Mm-hmm.
and he's probably using his influence to make that market bigger.
Yeah.
And people are probably buying it because one, they either want the card, or two, they want a card from him.
Exactly.
And he's basically treating this like it's a corporation. Like he's got multiple stores open on like I said, what's not eBay, Amazon, whatever. I think he might even have his own website to sell cards too. But like this guy is truly treating this like it's a job. He's
Oh no,
got
if you're
listings, gradings, all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, no, if you're doing breaks, like it really becomes a full-time job, and it's something I may have talked about on the pod before, I don't know, but like I used to partake in breaks, not actual breaking, but like so for those that don't know, let me just give a little brief education. A box break, it's not even, well, some people do box breaks, but usually they're done in cases. What a case is a case of like 12 boxes, 16 boxes, whatever the company packs it in. So what they do is they sell it on eBay, and like let's take football for example. What the breaker will do is he will put up an auction for every sports team, and then you bid on that sports team. If you win said sports team, he will put the date, the time, and do the break live, record it because that's showing proof. And if you won that sports team, you get every single card that comes out of that case get mailed to you from that team. That's how a case break works, and that's how I'm assuming he's making a lot of his money. Now that worked for sports, not Pokemon cards. Although I have seen people do breaks for Pokemon cards, which to me is pretty crazy. But that's how it usually works.
Well, he's
It
probably doing it the same way because one of his most popular sites is Whatnot, and Whatnot is a live auction service. Basically, you're live streaming your auctions, and
mhm,
he's doing
mhm.
that regularly, and he has like over 227,000 sold items already.
I might need to check that side out, man. I might be missing something on that one. Because not to get off topic, I apologize, but uh, I did buy in between weeks here a thermal label printer, so I can actually now print my own shipping labels. And I should have done this years ago because I probably would have saved a lot more money. So I'm looking to actually take my hobby kind of to the next level myself.
It's
So
an extra source of
uh,
income, man. Like that's literally how I fund my games. I buy games, sell them, get
yeah.
profits from them, and then buy whatever games I want.
And like that's the thing, like thankfully, just like streaming, like it's a hobby, like I enjoy doing it. I don't think of it as a job.
Yeah, it's not your
So
main source of income, but if it could be
yeah,
profitable while you enjoy it, why not do it?
yeah, yeah. But anyways, back to making millions selling Pokemon cards. Yeah, so like it's how can I put it, there's no level of surprise there for me, obviously, because it's like what's his name, freaking Logan Paul or whatever his name is,
Oh, basically the one that kicked
or
off the
Jake
trend.
Paul.
No, Logan Paul's the
Yeah,
right one.
yeah, yeah. So like I mean, like this has been happening for quite some time now with a lot of different people. Um and yeah, I just think, you know, uh I don't blame them at all, but you know, the celebrity status I think helps them tremendously in
Hmm.
more ways than one. You know, as a regular hobbyist, like dare I say, it's an unfair advantage, but you know, it's not in my control.
It
Uh,
it does make you wonder though, because like I know, like I do watch Whatnot and all that stuff, and others like eBay and all that's for live marketing. I
mhm.
wonder how much an actual normal person without fame status actually makes by flipping cards. Because I've seen some people make thousands of dollars based off of this stuff. Like, well, obviously I don't know how much they spent to get that card, but like if you look at their page, you'll be like, oh, listing, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 for a card, whatever, 500. I'm like, you total all that up, I've already seen somebody make over $70,000. Obviously, I'm seeing what they're getting off of from the sells, but it'd be kind of interesting to see if there's any profit, if they're going the red, or what the difference is, like from a common professional.
Yeah, I mean it's once again it's interesting to know and see. I highly, it's almost just like uh like gambling, right? Like I talked about how I was at the casino, lost all my money. Usually a lot of people brag about their winnings, but it's like, well,
How much you
how much
spent?
have you actually, yeah, exactly, how much have you actually spent? And it's no different with the card market and everything. I can admit over the years I'm probably down, but I still have amassed, I would like to think, a good return. And I think, you know, I guess the hope is the more longer you sit on it, in theory, you know, more of it becomes more valuable. I think with Pokemon cards though, like the ones that are winning at the market are the ones that have the older stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the more sought after. Versus now, I think if people think that what, like, for example, what I've been buying the last couple few years is going to be worth something in another 15 or 10 years, I really truly don't think that's going to happen at all.
And to me, I see this as like a double-edged sword because with people making a lot of money from flipping and selling, I'm noticing a lot more card companies issuing reprints. And to me, reprints, it could either increase value or drastically decrease value. Like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, I I wish I still had my old legacy set, but
Hmm.
basically the first set of Yu-Gi-Oh cards
Hmm.
were out of print for 25 years.
Hmm.
Now they're being brought back into reproduction now.
Hmm.
So I'm like,
Hmm.
does that diminish all old card value, or do they still stay valuable, or does this reprint not gain value? How like it's interesting to see how like these card dynamic works. Sometimes it could work out for it, and sometimes it could just completely bust that card market.
It's a great question, and man, I want to say it's a little bit of both, but I think more so more so that it drives up the value of the originals, right? Because as long as you know how to decipher the original from the reprints, those those originals are going to be always worth more and probably go up in value. But then the reprints aren't worth shit. But if you're just someone that wants to collect and just have a version of, then that's a win for them, and you get it at a cheaper value. But but yeah, it definitely could increase the value, but for the originals.
Once again, wish I had somebody that was in this market because, like, I know for at least video game hunting, because this is what I do.
Yeah.
I always use third party places like, retro game stores or GameStop, depending if there's like a bulk deal going on, or
Hmm.
go to like, Goodwill, thrift stores, whatever, and see if I can find like a good deal. But I know as like a distributor, sometimes they'll contact companies and they'll buy things in bulk for a discounted price. Obviously, they still pay a lot up front, but because they're buying in bulk, they get a huge discount on each unit that's sold. I wonder if
Correct.
cards can do like if card companies, or sorry, not card companies, but like individual card sellers can contact the company or at least another source and buy
Hmm.
these crates in bulk and get
Hmm.
like a discount per unit, like maybe like
Hmm.
25 cents or a dollar off whatever the box.
Hmm.
Is that how they make their profit, or is it just purely luck by buying a random box or card pack?
So I think it's both. Um, what you said, I actually wonder that myself because I obviously I'm not a distributor. But I've wondered that exact narrative. It's like I'm pretty sure, like, take Tops for example. Obviously, Tops is very renowned. Um, if you are on their distribution lists and directly through them, I'm sure they are buying it at an MSRP, right? And then where the luck part sets in is like, okay, who's in that class, i.e., who in that year is supposed to be, top rookie? Is that rookie going to be more famous or more valuable than the last 5 year rookies? Like, then you take those in effect. So now that the distributor got it directly from the manufacturer at face value or MSRP, but due to the upcoming class, that MSRP is dog shit, and they could sell it at 10 times the amount that they got it for Armament. So right there, that's instant. So to your point, that does happen 100%. But then there is that luck dynamic because of how I just explained it, right? Is the class going to be good? But then part two of that is the individual cards, right? Now, are you breaking it? That then becomes gambling. Are you breaking it hoping to get that particular pair? So then you flip for tens of thousands of dollars, hypothetically. Like what's going to happen this year, and I don't know if I'm going to gamble, because I'm not I don't have a lot of hockey product, if at all any. But since the Blackhawks got that number one draft pick, that Connor Bedard, like he's being touted as like the next big fucking thing. And his rookie cards are just going to be disgusting. And the thing about hockey that's interesting to me, hockey is Canada loves it, and a lot of European countries love it. So there's a huge market for hockey as well.
Yeah. So I think the reason I brought this up is because, like I said, I do the video game stuff and I do talk to people on the retro gaming scene, and I know getting a distributor purchasing from a manufacturer production site It's really
Mm-hmm.
hard, especially if you're not like a government regulated store.
Yeah.
So a lot of times they'll send out like small sell copy or sell units, and they'll be like, if you sell
Mm-hmm.
this within a certain time frame, we'll give you a chance. They'll put you on. Then they'll start bumping up the units a little by little, depending if you can keep selling it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, because they're not government regulated markets like like Walmart, Target, whatever, they also in a weird way have the benefit of not selling at market price, and that's a weird thing.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Like I think like I know I threw out MSRP and that wasn't really an accurate term, but it's kind of like the widely known one. I think because of the unknown element of, like I said, like who's gonna really be great, that like, yeah, you have projections, there will always be projections, but there's always that unknown. So with that said, like I think I'll say it this way, I think the manufacturers are realistic with their prices, but to your point, like it is very hard to be a distributor. And where I'll give them credit, or at least like the tops of the world, I can't say this for every company, but they also do a good job with policing their distributors. And what I mean by that is if they do something nefarious, they will stop distributing to them and they'll take them off the list. Which sometimes you don't see that happen with the government, right? Like so like they kind of police themselves a little bit. Now, can they
And,
be too?
and and that's a great thing because
Yeah.
inflation can run rampant if there's not checks and balances there. Because as
Yeah.
much as people like to say, oh, I hate Walmart, I hate Target, I hate Best Buy, etc., whatever. I'm like, if those people didn't exist, everyone could jack up the prices. Like they are held to a government standard what the market sell rate is. That's why it's
Mm-hmm.
called um, uh, market or MSRP for market sell price.
Mm-hmm.
And anything afterwards is third market seller, third party's market.
So let me throw this other thing out there, and I don't. I mean, this kind of is true with Pokemon a little bit. There is a thing called retail packs, and then hobby boxes. So hobby boxes are the stuff that can fluctuate, right, with the market, but the retail stuff is the stuff that it has to be sold at that price. So I forgot. It just dawned on me. There's that caveat too, and it's kind of similar with Pokemon, although they don't really specify it that way. But it's
Are
kind of the
those like
same
the booster
approach.
boxes and all that stuff?
Yeah, like the ETBs and the box sets. Like you could consider that like their retail products, but the unopened booster boxes, you don't see those at Walmart and Target. Like you have to actually go to hobby stores to find those.
It's funny because they do have. I did notice that they do have like sub boxes that are kind of like booster boxes, but like
They're
the mid
they're
tier version
minis.
called trainer boxes or whatever.
Yes, they're minis. Actually, those are relatively new, I think. Like, yeah, they come. I think it's 8 booster boxes, or I'm sorry,
Yes,
booster
instead of
boxes.
like it's like
Eight.
$70 or whatever.
It's 8 booster packs. My apologies. Yeah, I don't know how much they run. I thought they run for like 40,
Well, I think it depends because I know they
40,
got the trainer
50.
boxes that are like it comes with certain booster cards, but then it also comes with like certain like little collectible things that
Yeah,
helps you get into
those are
like
the
the
ETBs. Yeah.
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 So it's interesting how they now have tiers to like discern between what they can boost in price versus what the standard sell price is. It seems like they kind of figured out their own workaround for that.
Well, I think it boils down to kind of what you were saying with like this distribution, right? Like we're going to distribute to those, big mass stores, Targets, Walmarts. Here's your product. This is how much you have to sell it for. Versus, like I said, the shrink wrap boxes where you get 36 packs in. Like those are the ones that are going to fluctuate by demand. Like how hot is the product, and those are the things that you generally only see online or at your local hobby stores. So. So yeah, Pokemon does not, now that we're talking it out, has a similar model.
Yeah, it would be cool to look at like I know a lot retailers, obviously not the big corporations, but like smaller ones, if they
Hmm.
would be willing to divulge it, because I feel like as much as people you hear people make millions off Pokemon cards,
Hmm. Hmm.
it does make you wonder like how profitable could it really be? Like, are you making slim margins? Are you breaking even? Like, I think that's what I really want to know from like a true like actual seller that makes this off like from a living, because I know
Hmm.
for like video games. Most of the time, they're making very little profits. Like they have enough just to play their plays, pay the bills, and maybe take maybe ten
Where
percent from them.
I I'll answer it like this. I would suggest that if you are lucky to be on the distributor list or even have a connection with the distributor and you are doing case breaks, I will say I'm not gonna say you're making bank, but you're profitable. You are definitely profitable. 100% you're profitable.
So this Blake
But
Martinez guy might be on that distributor list because he does have a legit site called Blake's Breaks, and he's literally doing live breaks on whatnot.
yeah, then yeah, I would say extremely profitable. Now, the one thing that Pokemon is different than like all sporting categories is the fact that Pokemon doesn't utilize um, limited prints, like how there's only going to be 100 prints of this card. Um, it makes me wonder if they'll ever do that one day because I would probably spend a lot of money. And dare I say, I kind of hope they do. Like, especially since I dabbled with this last Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings set. Like, I knew of the one of one ring, right? Because that was the biggest thing talked about. But they did actually have a few other cards that were exclusively numbered, and I I I mean, Pokemon cards are doing phenomenal without it. But if they want to take it up another notch, boy, you start throwing those sequential numbers in Pokemon cards, fucking new game, man. Like, holy shit. Can you imagine if there's a limited print of like 10 Charizard cards?
Uh, So,
Like,
it's. I'm gonna say this. One, I'm against it because I don't like FOMO, and I think everybody should have a chance of getting it. But as a company standpoint, it would boost sales because people would have that FOMO aspect. It was like, oh, gotta get it. If I get lucky, I ain't getting rid of this card. This is a 1 of 1 card or the 1 out of 10 card. No one else in the world has it. Then you got that exotic collector's like mentality for it.
yeah. Uh,
So
so the FOMO aspect, like it depends how bad your FOMO is, right? Because usually these cards are.
collectors would hate it because if they can't get that
Oh
limited
no,
print card, it would destroy their set.
I wholeheartedly disagree with you. I'm telling you that for factual being a collector, collectors would love it.
No, the collector that gets that limited print card is gonna love it. The rest are gonna be like, "Fuck,
No,
I'm left out."
no,
I
no.
bet you a lot of people that go for complete collections are gonna be very upset about it, especially if
That
they
would
can't fork over $1 million for one stupid card.
since we're in the game of trying to get involvement here. For anybody out there that's listens to us now or in the future, leave a comment. What do you think? Are you a collector yourself? And what's your take on all this, and whether or not you would like it or dislike it?
Not only that, but if you're a distributor and you
Oh
do this
yes,
for a
there you
living,
go.
please let us know because we would love to have a guest that actually knows what they're talking about, so they could educate people like us that just have a brief understanding of what it's like.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree with you. That would be a great pull too. But yeah, no, I think so. So the FOMO part, I didn't get my complete thought out. Like, yes, there would be that limited 10 of whatever, but in theory, you could still get that card that's just not numbered sequential. Like, perfect example. Once again,
Oh,
go back to
that's a
going.
different story then. If they're still making printed cards, like
Yes,
you can still get that one ring, but it's just not that numbered. That
yes,
I'll support that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if
No,
it's only that one card and that's all there'll ever be, then I'm against it.
yeah, no. Like, there's so like once again going back to the sporting card world, like it's the same card. Like I always got cards in front of me. It's the same looking card, except they just change like the color of the border and then number it.
Okay, I'm okay. I'll be more for that. I thought you were saying like it's just that 1 or 10 cards and there's no more in
No,
existence.
no. I mean, once again, that's something they can do. I'm still not against that, but more times, but more times than not, um, it doesn't function that way. Like it's an alternative version of the card, so you could
Well,
still get
it's a
that
win-win for
card.
both. Collectors still can still get their complete
Correct,
sets, but then
correct.
the hunters can potentially make money, boost
Yeah,
sells, and all that and trade.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm for that because it's a win-win for both sides.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at with it. Like that would be dare I say, a sad but also happy day. It'll be sad for my bank account, but happy day as a collector because I have nothing against it. I've toned down my Pokemon card buying drastically, um, I still love looking at all the artwork and everything that's been put out there. But if they were to do that, like, holy shit, dude, that'd be fun.
Do you know what would be really cool? And obviously, this is more just a me thing. But imagine like a mural or collage, whatever you want to call it. Like maybe at like a museum, whatever. It would be a massive freaking one. But
Hmm.
imagine a mural of all Pokemon card artwork all
Hmm.
lined up. Just like from all the sets, and they just keep adding to that mural.
Now, is that mural actually forming something, or you're just talking about
Like
just
it,
every
it, it
card?
just has all the cards in that mural, like a
Gotcha.
collage.
So it's pretty much
It's a
a
collage.
museum of every card.
Yeah, but it's all in one piece.
That'd be dope.
I think that'd be
I
pretty
saw
cool. It'd probably be a large collage, but it'd be cool.
I saw a on social media an epoxy table of all energy cards.
I've seen things like that too.
Yeah, which like when I first saw, I was like, oh, that's cool. But then like I stared at it for 10 extra seconds. I'm like, no, it's hurting my eyes. Never mind.
Well, it's kind of funny because previous, I think it was last episode, you were talking about what was it, black boxes, black casings, or whatever. The frames where you can put some it's like a frame where you can actually encase something like a jersey,
Oh,
whatever.
shadow boxes.
Shadow boxes, that's what's called.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I have seen more shadow boxes of like people like taking like old gadgets like a Game Boy and ripping
Hmm.
it apart, but basically putting like the circuits, the shell, and all that stuff, and the labeling how it's made in like
Hmm.
a shadow box. Or same thing with somebody selling like the 5 pieces of Exodia encased in a shadow box, and then it tells you like left leg, right leg, whatever. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they look great. No matter, well, I shouldn't say no matter what you put in there, but like to your point, I've seen, I forgot what they call it. I think they call them like blowouts or something. Like they're they whatever the electronic is, they blow it out to every little piece, and yeah, it looks really cool. Like it's just like I don't know. I was one of those kids that would like to take apart stuff when I was just to see the insides of things.
I
I
was
used to do that shit a
very
lot.
tempted because it's a good use of recyclization because a lot of these gadgets that they have for these shadow boxes are
Hmm.
like actual devices. They just
Hmm.
obviously aren't working anymore, and so
Hmm.
instead of throwing them away, they reutilize them as artwork.
Repurpose them. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I concur. It's I mean that's kind of what like Etsy's for, right? Like people find very creative ways to reuse things and then profit. Like one of the simplest ones that I saw, and I was dating a chick that she said she wanted to get into it, was just melting like and cutting like beer bottles or anything really, but and then turning them into candles.
I've
And
seen
it's
people
like,
take the corkscrews from alcohol things and turning them into like a picture or collage of like a figure or whatever just by the different colored corkscrews and all that stuff and making it into like
okay.
artwork.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, man, there's amazing people out there. Like, now we're going direct, really off topic by me saying this, but like there's like so many like amazing creative people in this world that probably should be the real millionaires, and they're struggling to
Well,
make ends meet.
look at the person that made a fidget spinner. I think it was like a grandma or whatever making it for her grandchild that was, I think had like ADHD or something like that or autism, and they would
Hmm.
keep fidgeting. And because they made this device, other people seen it, and because she didn't have enough money to patent it, other companies stole it and they made millions. So
Hmm.
it does suck seeing someone's
Yeah,
creative genius get pirated because they don't have the money to patent something.
that's why if you have ideas out there, let's do a little
Shh, keep it quiet until you can make money to patent it
or you only share it to very few people
that you trust.
that you trust, and maybe you could come up with a pool of people to get money, investors. um or did we talk about this on the pod? I don't know if we ever did, but like, I know I was talking with my friend that I went to Toronto with. We had a lot of valuable conversations like this one, and I was like, I'm not going to talk about what we talked about, the idea, but uh I was like, if you are really passionate, and I try to give him like the vote of confidence. I'm like, I think it's a really fucking good idea. I was like, take out a bank loan, man. Like, if you're that confident with it, take out 30 grand. get that startup going. Like that's what they're there for too. Like just like the story you share, like all because they didn't have the money personally doesn't mean there's other avenues to do it. But like you just got to have that confidence and you got to be passionate. Like you
Well,
got to have both.
mm, confidence and passion is definitely a key part, but it's also connections because like
For
you can
sure.
have this idea, but if you don't know how to distribute it or sell it or mass produce it, you're already dead in the water. That's another aspect you have to figure out is how you're gonna mass produce it, and a lot of
For
people
sure.
don't know the connections to do that.
For sure, but I'm going to say it like this. Money provides.
Well, there's also a limit depending on your current financial status that banks will only give you a certain amount to loan.
100%, 100%. And I've never gone through a process. I'm not trying to sit here like I know it all because I don't. But to your point, like you're going to have to sell the bank to also invest and give you that as well, which means you'll probably have to show them your idea.
Well, not only
like,
well, like I say, there's multiple aspects because like I said,
mm-hmm,
I have a friend that did open up a business. They
mm-hmm,
do it for basically woodcrafting.
mm-hmm.
Uh, what they had to focus on because they did go to the bank, they wanted a loan for $30,000, which I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but to a bank that's $30,000. So
Well,
what they
shit,
had
that's a
to
lot of money.
do
That's a lot of money.
so what they did was they reviewed their credit score and their bank statements and all that stuff, and they said, okay, if you really are interested in this, you got to bring your credit score to a certain level, and then you do that. But that still takes months to raise and a lot of balancing, and not a lot of people can do that. And by the time you do that, somebody else will come in and steal you.
And to raise that credit score means you have to do what? Go into a little bit of debt.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
and it's
well,
and
no,
that's
it's not only that. It's either you go into debt or you severely cut things to rebalance your budget to make basically what your goal is. But
yeah.
it's not as simple as oh, you got to have confidence. There's a lot of financial things behind
No,
it.
no, no. I get. I'm not disagreeing with you. You're 200% correct. But I think initially, like if you're that sold, like nothing's a guaranteed win, right? Just the way you laid it out, like you still got to do X, Y, Z. But if you're that strong about it, like there's ways. Like that's just only one way. But you know,
Yeah. But
but yeah,
it would be cool to talk to more people about this. Like well, before we wrap this up quickly, because I do have to go very very soon.
sure.
Um, the creative market in general, and since 3D printers have come out, has just
Hmm.
blown up drastically. Like like you said, Etsy, a lot of creative, little knickknacks, figures, whatever are being sold there. A lot of people are
Hmm.
making solid money by just making little figures from 3D
Hmm.
prints. And I think it's
Hmm.
cool. Like, there's this person that's selling Crash Bandicoot figures of like Coco, Crash, Cortex, and all that stuff. They're a
Hmm.
little pricey, like $30 for a figure, but they
Hmm.
look good.
Well, you gotta remember you're paying
For
because these are
shipping
all
and all that stuff and
no.
material
I was gonna say
processing.
outside of the 3D printing market stuff, a lot of stuff are basically handmade by that person. So you're paying for like their labor, right?
Well, it
And
depends on
that
the
and
machine they have, because some of them actually do
well,
color prints.
I say no. I'm saying throw out the 3D printing stuff completely. I'm saying like stuff that's not 3D printed. Generally
Oh, like
speaking,
handcrafted
it's
stuff, yeah. But
yes,
those go for
like
much more than $30, like 250, 300 plus.
well, and that's what I'm getting at. Like a lot of people are like, "God damn!" Yeah, but yeah, you're paying for something that's handcrafted by their. You're paying for their how good they are
Yeah,
at
like
their craft.
that friend I was telling you about, he like I said, he does woodworking. He makes tables, chairs, frames, all that stuff. His tables, they're over like $4,000 each. Like they're
Hmm.
pretty big size family tables with the leaf extension, all that stuff. But the
Hmm.
the craftsmanship, the artwork detail, it's all done by hand. Obviously,
Hmm.
tools are involved, but most of them's like
Hmm.
either hand chisels or
Of
whatever.
course, of course.
And it's expensive, but you're paying for
Yeah,
what you get.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So, but we could wrap it up here. And once again, even outside of the little things we talked there that we throw in there, like leave us a comment and connect with us if you're one of those people. Just in general, leave a comment and share our podcast, show us some love. We appreciate it, and we'd love to hear from you. So,
Mhm.
with that said, if Josh, you got nothing else,
Nope, peace and love. That's all I
nothing
got.
else. Peace and love from the Automata Podcast, episode 43. Jordan.